rush and judge. These borders, you must get a solution. These borders, you must do this. But on this occasion, where even people rush to judge a border, it was a reckless driver who caused the accident, who knocked the border from behind. And he has even admitted, so he has admitted his guilt, reckless driving, causing death. I'm told he will be sentenced tomorrow. Of course, we as a family, we know this was an accident. There was nothing intentional. And an accident can happen to anyone. But I want to urge government that whereas we are pushing to handle borders, we should look at the transport sector extensively to include reckless driving. We need these people of Subarus, these people of Golf. You know, when I see someone driving a Subaru Golf, you give way. Guys drive as if they are possessed, you know. So, but we want to thank you as a family. They requested me to register appreciation to the Speaker of Parliament, to the honorable ministers, to the clerk and staff, to you honorable colleagues for standing with us. Second, East African Parliamentary Games are opening today. Golf, we did our part yesterday. Uganda was the overall winner in golf. With Honorable Kamsime Caroline being the overall best player, woman MP Ruchiga. And on the side of males, with the absence of the Attorney General Joe Akwanika, the Right Honorable Thomas Tayewa became the best male from Uganda. I took advantage of Attorney General and General Jim, who is not being around, and we conquered Kenya. This was yesterday. We played yesterday, so we shall be going to Juba to get our medals, and I don't want any of you to accompany me. I know you're going to be saying you need company. you need to just file, okay? Yes, but the Speaker has gone to Juba for the opening ceremony of the games, and we are sure Uganda will emerge the overall winner for the game. So let's pray hard for our comrades who are representing us in Juba at the games. So with those, I have matters of national importance. I request when we received the condolences, we did what I request that topic. No one should make any comment on it, just as a request. Yeah. Yes, Honorable Song, procedure.
I will not also do the same, but I also represented you in your constituency. And indeed, I want to thank you very much. Though I also marked my note there very seriously. Honorable Speaker, the procedure matter I'm raising is that there is something happening and very serious these days on attack of polices in Uganda, police posts. It is happening regularly. Today, I think they have attacked Nankulabye, Bungoko yesterday, and these people who attack take guns and everything. But the information we have heard from the Deputy IGP, he says he knows these people, but he's not arresting them. But the vice is continuing. So the procedure matter, Honorable Speaker, I'm seeking for, whether it will be procedure okay, for the Ministry of Internal Affairs to come to this house and give us the situation of the country. Many police posts have been closed in the country, which is another problem affecting we from rural areas. But this business of attacking police posts by unknown people, actually, even Jinja Garrison Barracks was attacked and soldier was killed, guns were taken. Whatever they attack, guns are taken. And as if government is silent on this matter, it can bring a lot of disharmony in the country. But as parliament, we can't keep quiet on such a matter, which affects our security and the country at large. So wouldn't be procedural, Honorable Speaker?
Thank you. Our colleagues, please.
So I know I'm hearing order and what maybe they are looking at my hand face at the answer.
I had guided earlier on stop formalizing informalities by bringing them on the handset. Don't respond to people from
Yeah,
outside.
and
They are not
Mr.
on record.
Most obliged, Mr. Speaker. So that's the position that I'm seeking, whether the Minister of Internal Affairs could come here. We had the Minister of Security here, but was not serious on this matter.
Yeah,
And we cannot keep our heads quiet and under the sun without looking at this matter, which is becoming rampant day by day.
thank you. I have seen statements from police, public statements about this matter, meaning it's a public matter. It's a matter of public interest. I don't think it causes any harm for the minister to update the House on what is going on. Because indeed, many police stations have been attacked, and the minister, the IGP, the spokesperson of police, has been giving press releases. So there is nothing classified to that effect. Government Chief Whip, you wanted to say something on that?
Right, Honorable Speaker, it is public knowledge that there are some sporadic attacks on police posts. As peace-loving Ugandans, it is important we condemn, because today can be a police post, tomorrow may be your residence or my residence. So we need to attack it because we believe in peaceful means. Right, Honorable Speaker, I undertake to inform the Minister of Internal Affairs to brief the House.
No, I haven't guided on that. I wanted to see whether you're comfortable with that, then I make my ruling.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. What I know at the moment is that police is conducting investigations, and if it pleases you, you may guide that the minister briefs the House without going into the details of the investigations, can only inform the House of where the attacks are happening. I leave that to you within your prerogative, Right Honorable Speaker. But as you have stated, it is public knowledge. We are all reading on social media what is happening, not on a daily basis, but these sporadic attacks on police stations.
Thank you. So the Minister of Internal Affairs on Wednesday next week should bring a statement to the House on the sporadic attacks in police stations across the country. Now, honorable information is to a member on the floor. We don't have anyone on the floor. So let's go to matters of national importance. Honorable Aran Mayanja. Honorable Seru Kenya David. Honorable Nsegumire Muhammad. Honorable Augon Saira. Honorable Komaket Christopher.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, for a record, I registered my matter of national importance 2 weeks back, but the presiding officer then guided that will be forwarded on until today.
Honorable, you have 2 minutes.
I want to thank you for giving me the leeway. Right Honorable Speaker, I come from Puranga sub-county in Aro County, Pade district. I've lived there for a while, so have my ancestors. 3 weeks back, a gentleman known by the name of Ali Dusman came with a court order claiming 1,000 acres of land in Puranga sub-county, which is now a town council. He takes to court 7 people and he claims the entire land belongs to him. He asks the locals to compensate him with 1.2 billion. These locals, Right Honorable Speaker, do not have the funds to get a lawyer to stand in for them in court. As I speak right now, they are sleeping out in fear of being evicted from the land. I request the Minister of Land with utmost respect to pay a visit to Puranga sub-county and save the locals who were once living in IDP camps. And now they are fearing that they might be sent back to IDP camps by the same people who sent their ancestors out
Thank you.
to that land. Thank you very much, Mr. Honorable Speaker.
Attorney General, we handled together most of such cases. I don't see the Minister of Land is here. I don't want, before I burden the government chief whip, we handled many cases of that nature. Before Attorney General up.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The matter that the honorable member has just raised is alarming and now causes serious problems, because when somebody says a person came in with a court order, the tragedy with such is the presumption that somebody went to court, litigated, and won a case, a court case. I am meant to understand that there has been a practice direction issued that currently the police would not witness an execution unless and until, one, they have verified that court order, and secondly, they have also, it must take 3 months. Apparently, without going into the legality of that practice direction, the intention is to have people that wish to exercise some rights within the law, to have time and exercise those rights. And it has 2 implications. The first is maybe the Attorney General will address this August House on the legal undertakings that he can execute, especially where there is a court order. But the matter that goes back to the Ministry of Lands, which supervises district land boards, and my attention is drawn to the fact that in these areas of northern Uganda, they are having customary land. There is no Milo land. And these titles are issued by district land boards. And the duty of the parent ministry now is to go back to their policy as the supervising ministry. How does somebody get to access land claiming 1,000 acres, which is inhabited by other people? And yet in the regulations, among the things somebody must satisfy before he's given a lease, which is subsequently, subsequently metamorphoses into a freehold, that applicant must be in occupation of the land. The investigation that must be conducted must stretch to the land boards and the area land committees. In Wachiso, an area land committee of a particular town council issued a recommendation in respect of land in a different sub-county. I don't want to speak much about this matter because it has since gone to court, but it goes back to the management of land boards and the land management system with respect to public land. And now it has stretched to customary land. A few weeks from today, I'll bring information.
Honorable, as you conclude.
Yes. Of another minister who I understand has acquired 2,000 square miles. 2,000 acres of land occupied by people in northern Uganda. And this is a minister who was appointed only 2 years ago. No. I am not in a hurry. And I just want to draw the attention of Parliament to the problem in the land management system, especially with respect to what we call government land and customary land, where titles are issued by the district land boards. Because the blame has always been hyped on what they call Milo land. Milo land is the problem. And now colleagues can see that the problem has stretched beyond where we have the Milo land regime in this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Segona, your submission is in line with why I called the Attorney General. Because on several occasions, I feel Minister of Lands needs serious legal guidance on the do's and don'ts. Some of these things people can claim ignorance. They are like gray areas. But I don't think they know everything. They don't know everything. You can't know everything. So, Attorney General, please.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Komakech, your issue is noted, and after here, we're going to sit down and get more details of it. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members of the House, the Attorney General's Chambers takes interest in any matter where more than 30 people are going to be affected by an order of the court. So if we find a case which has more than 30 people, my office gets interested, and many times we have applied to become parties in that case, even if the court rightfully found that the land belongs to that person. As government, we have to find out what we are going to do with the people who are on that land. And that's how we've been handling those matters. The practice directives that were issued by the president were for the purpose of making sure that the administrative processes are properly done. The practice directive does not interfere with the processes of court. The court may make an order, but we have to ensure that whatever is being done is done orderly, in an orderly manner, and if it is to be done at all. And if government has an interest in it, it will take it up. The challenges of the District Land Board are a serious matter, and I've attended several meetings under the superintendence of the Right Honorable Prime Minister, where we're trying to find a resolution on how public land in the different areas is handled by the District Land Board. Obviously, there is a law which grants these District Land Boards these powers, but we are working administratively to see how to manage that issue. Right Honorable Speaker, what I could request is if the member could share with me the details of this case, government will take interest in it.
But now, colleagues, you're going to share my time. I have a schedule.
I apologize, but it's a matter of interest across two governments, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to seek clarification when he, and rightly so, says their practice direction on these execution matters. Usually, when the court is giving an eviction warrant, they give a warrant which expires in 1 month. And yet, I understand the practice direction which the police relies on. It was actually issued by the minister. It talks about 3 months. I wanted to know from the Attorney General if there has been efforts to harmonize these two, because one, by the time the 3 months run, the warrant has already expired, and we do not want a system that interferes with the operations of court as well. I wanted to find out if there has been efforts to harmonize between in terms of those timelines.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. The government in the Republic of Uganda is one. It comprises of the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And we have to work together to ensure that the people of Uganda are protected in every instance. So 3 months, 2 months, they are all arms of government, and we'll deal with it. What I can assure you, Right Honorable Speaker, is that the government of Uganda, which includes the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, shall not sit back while any person are evicted from their land. I beg to submit.
Thank you. So these are matters really that are very, very important, but not every matter do we need to come back on the floor. And we end up clogging our order paper with very many issues. What we need is serious action taken. Then once it's not taken, it's when the member can come back to the presiding officer. We call the minister back here. So clerk, you will relay this to ensure that the Attorney General, the Minister of Lands, they meet the member, and this issue is handled urgently. Honorable Nanda J. Christine Nduwarana. Honorable Kaunde.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I raise on a matter of national importance concerning nomadic pastoralists who have invaded my district, Kiryandongo. Right Honorable Speaker and members, nomadic pastoralists, some of whom were chased from northern Uganda, and others from unknown areas, have invaded Kiriandongo district in the sub-county of Masindi Port. Their animals frequently stray in people's gardens. These pastoralists, Right Honorable Speaker, and members are very arrogant. On several occasions, they have beaten up my people, my voters, seriously when they try to arrest their animals. They are posing a very big security threat in the area, as we have recorded increasing cases of cattle theft in Kiriandongo. Our local justice systems have failed to handle these cases whenever they are reported. Right Honorable Speaker and members, I pray that the Minister of Internal Affairs should intervene in this matter as soon as they can. I also pray that Minister of Agriculture should consider vaccinating the cattle in the neighboring areas, because our cattle farmers are in fear these animals could spread contagious diseases like foot and mouth diseases. I beg to report, Right Honorable Speaker.
Right Honorable Prime Minister. Thank you, Honorable Korik.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the issue the member is raising has a committee already in place. I will only reactivate that committee, which consists of myself, Honorable Machodogo, the Honorable General, State Minister for Internal Affairs, and the Honorable Bright Rwamirama. We shall handle.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, you know, you're usually specific. You don't usually say your handle. You usually say next week we shall go to Kiriandongo, we shall, because handling can last a month.
Okay, you want me to give you a timeline?
The colleague is desperate, the way she came to my office.
So this committee will go to Kiriandongo next week.
Thank you, Right
And
Honorable
report
Prime
here accordingly.
Thank
He's already there. Put there by the able president.
Right Honorable, you don't need to report back here. What we need is action on the ground with the MPs, because I know on this matter you handled it seriously when we had it in northern Uganda. Thank you. Honorable Wadiomo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I rise on the matter of national urgent importance, and this matter is of death and life. Right Honorable Speaker, just on the 13th of this month, we lost one of the chairperson, Eros One of Kabembe West, that is Budima Parish, and Utagaya Sub-County, Kagoma County, Jinja District. Right Honorable Speaker, this chairperson was referred to Jinja Referral Hospital, and the chairperson was on critical condition, whereby he needed ICU service. But Right Honorable Speaker, looking at the referral hospital, the ICU was unfunctional. When we consulted the nearby, that is Zimbari, it was the same. Right Honorable Speaker, adding to that, again, these people were told to go and buy drugs in the nearby pharmacies. And at the end of the day, we lost the chairperson. And being that Jinja is one of those districts with Ebola cases, I think having no functional ICU unit is so dangerous, Right Honorable Speaker. Not only that,
Prayers, Honorable.
yeah, my prayers, Right Honorable Speaker, is that government, and particularly the Minister of Health, should equip referral hospitals with ICU services and make them functional. 2, drug supply to referral hospitals and even health centers, either health center 4 or 3 or 2, should be adequate. I beg to submit. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable, it's not in the interest of your area to say Jinja has a lot of Ebola when we are coming for Christmas. You know, and you also told me they failed to get an ambulance to bring the patient. You told me the hospital didn't have an ambulance. That's what the honorable colleague told me when he came to my office. So I'm presenting the case. So, Right Honorable Right Honorable Prime Minister. Former Minister of Health.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I have taken note of the members concerned, and I want to thank him. Colleagues, all referral hospitals have more than 2 ambulances. We shall find out what truly happened. Secondly, yesterday but one, I had got a report that in the last 10 days, we had not registered any Ebola case. So now this now takes us back. So is it Ebola? Is it what? Because we,
No, right Honorable Prime Minister, the member linked Ebola to ICU. a link which I disagreed with quietly. Was maybe COVID or
Yeah, Right Honorable Speaker, it wasn't Ebola. But I said, since Jinja is one of those districts with
Ebola.
Ebola cases, and being that we don't have ICU facilities,
Okay.
then it's dangerous.
first of all, Jinja Hospital, like any other regional referral hospital, there is an ICU facility. Because this parliament appropriated the money during COVID period, and we established one. Honorable colleagues, we shall find out what truly happened and report back to you, Honorable Member.
Thank you. Right Honorable Prime Minister, indeed. Because Honorable Wadiomu rarely, he takes his time before he brings such issues. He rarely comes up just like that. So kind of pique interest. And he said it's also Mbari, so they tried Mbari. So you need to pick serious interest. Honorable Achira Margaret.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I raise a matter of national importance on the phase out of Kochido Primary Teachers College. Following the ongoing restructuring of teacher training institutions across the country by the Ministry of Education, Kochido Primary Teachers College in Karamoja Sub-Region has been phased out. Honorable Speaker, this college was opened in 1985 as a grade 3 teacher training college on serious demand of North Karamoja after realizing that Morotokoa PTC could not meet the high training needs of teachers in Karamoja Sub-Region. Honorable Speaker, it's unfortunate that even with the long struggle to attend this college, its noticeable benefits and development to the community, it has been phased out. So, Honorable Speaker, the phase out of this college has left the community that gave its land pondering whether to take it back because they had offered it for education of their children to be teachers. Honorable Speaker, a number of stakeholders consultative meetings have been conducted in the district with the Ministry of Education and Sports, and all have resolved that Kochido PTC be retained and be upgraded to Koa PTC on grounds that it has larger catchment area coupled with long distances which cover districts of North Karamoja, Kitgum, Agago, Padeo, Tuke, Amoria Soroti, and Kapelebom. Kochido PTC is the nearest PTC for access of students from the above catchment areas. For instance, the distance from Karenga to Morotokoa PTC, the only college in Karamoja, is 280 kilometers. So one can be able to see that the available institution that trained teachers is far apart and connecting them is very difficult, coupled with insecurity. Honorable Speaker, Kotido PTC has a land area of 48 acres with many structures and facilities to support teaching and learning, hence has room for expansion. Honorable Speaker, there is evidence that there is increased access, retention, and completion rates of learners from primary one to.
Honor your prayers.
Honorable Speaker, my prayers is that the government accords this part of the country affirmative action in order to promote education for the Karimojong children who would become teachers. Secondly, Ministry of Education and Sports reviews its decision on the phase out of Kotido PTC and reconsider its retention and upgrade to core PTC. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chemonges had come with a cross issue in Sebei. Honorable, can you use 1 minute without going?
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I just want to add on to what Honorable have just said, that the same issue happens in Sebei region. We got in the news last year around October that government had come up with a policy to phase out BTCs. And Sebei had only one BTC, and that is Kapchorwa Primary Teachers College. Mr. Speaker, it is a shock to the entire region that even after phasing out, the 5 core PTCs which remain in Eastern region are all in Mbale. One is in Mbale, then there is one in Tororo, then there is one in Bugedi sub-region, and then there are 2 in Soroti, Teso. Because there is one in Moroto. From Kapchorwa Queen Bukwa to reach the nearest core PTC, which would be Nyondo, is about 250 kilometers. Yes. So, Mr. Speaker, my prayers are the government should upgrade Kapchorwa BTC into a core BTC.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you so much.
Minister for Education. Because I remember Honorable Sewung sometime back had raised this issue, and you are supposed to respond.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and my dear colleagues, it's true, Kotido Primary Teachers College is one of those to be phased out. It's also true that Kapchorwa Primary Teachers College is another among those to be phased out. As for the request by my colleague to upgrade the core PTC, both to the core PTC, Right Honorable Speaker, that's not possible at the moment, because we are having the discussions with the local government to see what they think is the best services such institutions will be able to deliver for the community. There are quite a number of ideas that have come up. Maybe when we go back,
Honorable colleagues, I know this is a very serious issue. If we open it up, I know the time we shall spend here. The Committee on Education, please handle this matter, and any colleague who has a complaint regarding who is affected can appear before the committee, and then you report back to the House. Please, I'm speaking, Amos. Yeah. No. You don't come to enrich my ruling. You don't have that power. Yes. So, Honorable Minister, Honorable Chair for Education, colleagues, I think 3 weeks are fair. Yeah, let's give them 3 weeks so that Minister for Education, you appear before the committee, you meet the affected colleagues. And you see, what usually brings the problem is for you to take such a move, such a very important move, without consulting your fellow leaders here. Yeah, so consultation is always very, very important. Honorable Court Amos, your issue, national importance.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to report to the country and also to the House a matter which is security related. Last evening at 7:48 p.m. in the evening, some unknown gunmen attacked people of Kalongo Town Council, and they killed two people. One of them was a Mosee of 52 years old called Komakech Joseph, and the other one, a Joel. They sprayed bullets in the town council, and they managed even to escape. Our humble prayers is that this kind of shooting and killing is becoming a little bit rampant in Agago district. Before they killed one businessman, because their target at this particular point, they are looking for money. They go to somebody's shop. The moment they see you, you're having enough groceries in your shop, they go and attack you. The first thing they did was to put a boy next to that place and a gunpoint, and they robbed him all the money that he has. Then the next shop they entered was that one for Komakech Joseph. So our prayers is that the security people should go a little bit deeper, so that at least this kind of unnecessary riding of a motorcycle to unknown people who normally come and do this thing, we see how to check it. Then number two, we used to have a very robust and a very effective LC system on the security matter. Why don't we revise this so that at least you should know the neighborhood, who is this one moving, which is not known, and at the end, they help to safeguard the people, especially during this festive season that is coming. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Minister of Internal Affairs.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. The Honorable Court raised a similar related matter yesterday, but that time was related to incursions by warriors from Karamoja. And I would want to report back to the House the broad spectrum of measures we want to take, in particular regarding the rustlers, but also these internal security issues that arise.
Oh, I thought you were ready to report. Not now. Yeah, but you see, Honorable Minister, a member cannot raise a matter where people died last night, and you responded to it that way. That's unfair to a member. His constituency is not receiving any.
Investigate, sir, and then report back.
I think that's better. I think, yeah, you should assure that you're going to handle. And yes.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, we have been to Agago. We were there, I think, in the month of September. Remember, those issues were so much on the floor of Parliament. I led a team of the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Internal Affairs, and all our army commanders. And we put in place a number of measures. So I promise on behalf of government that we shall use the same approach, go there either tomorrow or the other day, reactivate our security personnel on ground to move and make sure that these culprits are put to book tomorrow.
Thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Seungu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Entebbe Express Highway is one of the few roads this government has made somehow beautifully. And the Honorable Speaker, this road has got it's a dual carriage. And indeed, there no speaker. It has areas of exit. But when you take from Kajansi going to Munyonyo, there's a new trend happening on this road. One, we raised issues here why they have not put lights on this road and a lot of accidents are taking place. But many companies are establishing factories along this road. And what is happening, there's no speaker on this road. These factories are removing barricades to create entrances and exits on the side where their factories are found. And a lot of accidents are happening. What do I mean, no speaker? A lot of vandalization. So my area of interest is to find out from Ministry of Works whether they are giving permission, allowing these companies to create exits and entrances to their factories. For example, when you go to Chigo Prison, there's a company packing water, fresh water. It has created an entrance so that it does not go back to the right side where it must pass to join the other side of the road. So we want to know from Ministry of Works who is allowing these people to create this express road, which has a dual carriage that must not be interfered as you drive, but they are creating entrances, exits at leisure to fit their factories that they can reduce on accessing the longer path that they should take.
Thank you.
And lastly, they want to know, because we know the contract, why isn't this road having power lights at night during the day? People are dying regularly and a lot of accidents are taking place.
Thank you. Honorable Minister for Works.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I would agree with the honourable colleague, but it's not that those companies have created entries and exits. It's because they're taking an advantage of those who are vandalizing the guardrails and the rest, and the ministry is already aware. We have constituted a team to come up with a comprehensive report, and you see how finally we can combat that. Then the issue of the lights, we are still mobilizing for funds, and once we get enough funds, we shall provide enough lights. But the most cause of accidents on that road, it is because of overspeeding, and we have already told the people there to put the signages which are showing the maximum speed you can drive on a given stretch. But I must say, come next week, we shall have with a comprehensive report which we shall give to the House on all the challenges we have on that road. Thank you very much.
No, Honorable Minister, we don't need a report on challenges of that. Huh? You're burdening yourself. You see, let me give you a tactic. The less you come to present here, the better for yourself. If you start inviting yourself here, you're going to be in trouble. So, Honorable colleague, what I would do, Honorable Minister, what I would guide is, for example, it's very near, just across here. You lose nothing calling a colleague, a chairperson, infrastructure committee, go you visit the road. It's just across. It's around 20 minutes. And they even show you what they are meaning. You might be reading from the different scripts. Because I stay on that same road. Okay? When I was going to do the access road to my area, I wrote to UNRWA. They gave conditions, they design everything, and but some people come and dig. And they end up affecting the base of the main road. What Honorable Seungu has said is people are creating way access for themselves without approval of UNRWA. So now what you would do, you would go, you do a spot check, with UNRWA, they show you we approved this one, we didn't approve this one. The one that was not approved, they close it. Very simple, Minister. Honorable Prime Minister, your friend here.
You will speak after me. There is only one Prime Minister. There is only one prime minister in this country.
Colleagues, please, we don't have much time.
Okay,
Yes.
colleagues, that was a light
These
moment.
are very good friends. So
Okay.
if you go into
So I thought I should take this opportunity to direct my younger brother that he can go to the areas where my brother has said. You yourself, because if you say you are going to use your technical people, it will take ages. You go there tomorrow. On Tuesday, you.
no. Very good.
Clarification.
On the issue of lights,
Yes, yes. Right,
Yes.
Honorable Speaker. Now people can see the reason why the Prime Minister and I are that close. Because we are both practical. But I was on the issue of lights, because lights is not about beauty. It has a lot to do with security on this road. And we have seen and heard so many stories of scales of insecurity on the road. World over, expressways are monitored 24 hours. And you will notice that in some cases, in many cases, even if your car developed a mechanical problem, within 10 minutes, there will be patrol to come and flush you out, including breakdown services. But there cannot be security monitoring when there is no light. Usually, government comes to parliament and asks for money. My brother, the minister, was very casual in saying we are still looking for money to put the lights. This road has had budget. It also has a maintenance budget. And the people are paying to use this road. I had expected, and that's why I wanted to speak before the Prime Minister, so that we could hear the commitment of government on lighting this road, so that those monitoring security on this road have their work made easy. Because we are going to keep quarreling with General Hose here, but he will tell you, how do you want me to monitor? Because it has cameras, but those cameras cannot be effective without light. I'll take it.
I thank myself for giving me way. Honorable Speaker, we should not hide. The fact is, when this road was being constructed, that money was within the contract. And in the last parliament, the one Muyanja Senyonga from Mukono raised the same matter. But money, I think, was taken somewhere. As we talk now, we know that this road, just to clean it, washing it, it costs 1 billion every month. It's on record. However, we need to know who took that money and why didn't they put the lights? If they failed, let us look for more money and put lights on that road. We have traveled in a number of countries. We know what's happening in such roads. No, that's what I was saying.
see, Honorable Seung, what Honorable Segona talked about. Usually for such roads, doorways, where you have concessions, people running concessions, you know, one of the things they start with is writing. Even when they don't find it, they do writing. And because it's so incorporated within the costs of maintaining the road, you know. So the Committee on Physical Infrastructure, please link up with the minister to look at the terms of the concession. Terms of the concession, which should be having those details. Honorable Byanyima, you have some information on that?
Right, Honorable Speaker, the minister is aware that the company that is collecting money now has been given an ultimatum to put on lights up to the end of December. He's aware. I don't know why he can't say it. They delayed because the money that they were collecting was going direct to the consolidated fund. So there must be means again to get it from pay them. So soon, the company is doing the job.
Prime Minister, take up the matter and ensure we have rights on the road.
I did not want to, because I expected my brother to talk about it. There is already work going on to provide lights on that road. You are seeing dig some holes on that road. That's the beginning that they are going to provide lighting on that road.
Thank you. Honorable Tebandeke.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise on urgent matter of public importance. Right, Honorable Speaker, in reference to the 1948 United Nations Organization Universal Human Rights Declaration Charter and the Article 29 of the Constitution, subsection 1C. Freedom of worship is a fundamental right. It is a culture in human perspective and practice entre person to person and society per society. Honorable Speaker, on the 8th of July 2022, Pastor Chizito Peter of Eternity Christian Embassy Church of Chenra was arrested by the National Environment Management Authority Enforcement Team in disguise of noise pollution. Right, Honorable Speaker, Pastor Mohanezimana Edison of Kansanga was equally arrested, and both were tried in utility courts and charged with offenses of noise pollution. Right, Honorable Speaker, we are approaching worldwide to celebrate the holy month of Christmas, and it's a festival to all Christians, and we do enjoy and celebrate it in any manner prescribed per preference. Right, Honorable Speaker, it is my greatest prayer that NEMA enforcement team, under the directive of the minister in charge, balances the standards control of noise pollution together with freedom of worship enriched in Article 29. Right, Honorable Speaker, it is to my greatest prayer too that the minister in charge meets with the pastors, fellowship leaders of Kampala, harmonize on the mode of worship in order to not to contaminate with any other freedoms of the other side. Lastly, Right, Honorable Speaker, we pray that an amicable approach is conducted and also to review the NEMA Act in reference to noise pollution, because the digital sound emitter used to detect the sound, if at all it was brought and all ordered to keep quiet, it could rule us out of order.
Okay.
Right, Honorable Speaker, the born again community has supported this government for so long, and it's our prayer that the government.
Honorable, are you a pastor?
Right, Honorable Speaker, I'm a Christian, not a pastor.
Okay. Honorable, what is the person this matter?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. First of all, I would like to thank the member.
Order.
I would like to thank the member for the matter he has raised. I would also like to thank NEMA for the job it is doing. Right Honorable Speaker, Article 43 of the Constitution provides that in the enjoyment of rights and freedoms prescribed under this Constitution, no person shall prejudice the fundamental or other human rights or freedoms of others or the public interest. Right Honorable Speaker and members, there are some rights which cannot be curtailed in any way. Shouting while praying, speaking at a volume higher than what is prescribed by the law set by this parliament is not one of them. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Procedure, Honorable Mary.
Thank you very much. I rise on a point of procedure Thank you very much, Attorney General. Thank you, my colleague. Is the Attorney General in procedural right to put it that he thanks NEMA, which protect me, Right Honorable Speaker.
Colleagues, Honorable, you're protected.
I'm finishing. I'm a pastor myself. Protect me.
Colleagues,
Yes.
please. Honorable Mary, colleagues, now, most of you, I know you work day and night to go to heaven. God's representative is speaking and you're making noise. So you're failing yourselves.
Thank you very much. No.
Honorable Mary.
Is the Attorney General procedure moving on well when he thanks them, which has failed all the times to at least arrest discotheque owners who make a lot of noise to our doorsteps, including my own home. Discotheques make noise. No report of such has been done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable colleague, two wrongs won't make a right. Okay. Attorney General, Honorable, you can't access a microphone when the speaker is speaking. And
Show blood.
You see, what I pick from a honorable colleague, maybe Honorable Attorney General and Right Honorable Prime Minister and colleagues, it's a matter of engagement. Some of these pastors, maybe they don't know the limitation. Okay, I wouldn't want to call it noise. Okay, of expressing their message. But they've requested for a meeting with the minister in charge of environment for guidance. Maybe they can be guided much better. They be told about the limits, about the issue of really noise. Some areas you don't sleep. A disco is here, a church is here. It's a really honor Shadow Attorney General.
I want to thank my colleague, the Attorney General, for being very loud and clear. See, honorable members, every right, actually, not all rights are absolute. And each right, whether absolute or not absolute, has a corresponding responsibility. So the freedom of worship, which we all respect, has corresponding responsibilities. And those responsibilities include not violating the NEMA Act, which law we passed ourselves. And of course,
I don't know, that's why I said we should amend it.
And you see, it is also important, honorable members, to know that our rules of procedure prohibit us from discussing matters where we have a conflict of interest. So I wouldn't have expected my colleague from this side to raise a matter that actually touches the issues of the environmental health of everybody, to discredit what NEMA is doing. We would actually be applauding NEMA for fighting noise pollution, whether by us worshipping or those others encroaching on the environment.
Thank
you very much.
Next time, Honorable Tewandeke, consult your Attorney General. Yes, I had guided colleagues that the Minister for Environment should meet, because they have an organized platform of pastors and they engage on these matters. Yes, it's very, very important. And Right Honorable Prime Minister, you would ensure that indeed this is done quickly. Our colleagues in the VIP gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of members of Parliament and staff of the Select Committee on Budget from the National Assembly of Namibia. They are here to benchmark and share experiences with their counterparts in Uganda, and they include Honorable Kamboto Mike, head of delegation. Yes. Honorable Joseph Kandwenge, member of Parliament. Miss Catherine Joyce Nakuta, Director Clerks. Josephina Shatumbu, Director Finance. Mr. Haman Angala, Finance Consultant. And Miss Namasiku Esaber Aida, Committee Clerk. You're always welcome, colleagues, to visit us. Thank you. Let me conclude with Honorable Chibedi.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I raise a matter of national importance on the sustainable logging of trees for plywood and timber production products, especially in Mityana and Mubende and other surrounding areas. Right Honorable Speaker, the National Policy 2001 and the National Forestry and Tree Planting Act 203 provides Uganda's principal framework for forest protection. Right Honorable Speaker, illegal logging and regulation of the timber, I therefore report to this House that with the increasing number of plywood companies in the country, many communities from Mityana, Mubende, and other nearby areas are cutting down trees to provide use for these companies. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, due to continued and unsustainable logging in Mubende, Mityana, and other surrounding areas, this could affect food production in these areas by triggering changes to local climate and land degradation. Still, deforestation areas are infertile to hold up crops, and grassy areas are also non-productive and suitable for long-term cattle grazing.
Prayers?
My prayers are the Minister of Water Environment should provide this House with comprehensive management.
Order. Point of order.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The matter being raised by my brother Shibedi was raised here by Honorable Grania Nakaziwe. And it is coming back. Maybe it is this, the Prime Minister delayed to give them the action taken, but it was raised here and it is coming back. Is the Right Honorable Member in order? Is the Honorable Member in order to bring back the issue which was raised here a few weeks back?
Thank you. Right. Please. Honorable, you see, a point of order is a very strong point. We show something has really gone wrong. At least if you had gone for procedure, you know, I would have picked it. But order, you even scared me. You had how, you know? Let the honorable colleague.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable, I'm raising this matter because it has delayed. I'm not seeing any answer.
No, Honorable, you've ruled, please. Your prayers.
My prayers?
Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My prayers, the Minister of Water and Environment should provide this House with a comprehensive management plan against illegal logging and where the government has plans for any tree planting campaign for this country. Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you. Yes, I have been told this is a matter which had already been raised by Honorable Grania. If it was raised, then it should have been responded to. Right, Honorable Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, indeed the government is in high gear. We set up a committee in cabinet. The member is suffering. You're breaking the microphone. He needs help.
Right, Honorable Prime Minister, please. The submission on the Hansard is really not good.
Okay, members.
We remain focused on the matter.
Government has come up with a committee chaired by the Right Honorable Kadaga to see how best we can regulate the harvesting of our timber. However, colleagues, I wanted you to take a note that timber is becoming lucrative. We would see a way of encouraging our public to plant as more trees as possible. Because it's business now. And therefore, I want to allay the fears of my brother that cabinet came up with a committee headed by the Right Honorable Kadaga, and they are doing us a good job. At an appropriate time, we shall come back here and report on the matter.
Yeah, but now, Right Honorable Prime Minister, you make my work difficult because I'm responsible for my members here when they raise issues. Now, I don't know when cabinet committee will finish their work. It can be a year, it can be, oh, they've already reported back, so we can say 2 weeks' time, you can give us an update to the House. Okay, very good. Thank you. Colleagues, I've been requested by Dr. Nsaba Buturo to inform you MPs turn up at Kororo Independence Grounds for a conference on ethics and morality on 29 November 2022. The event will start at 8 a.m. Members are requested to take COVID test from Parliament Conference on Sunday and Monday morning. The conference is organized by the Parliamentary Forum on Ethics and Integrity. Now, I've done my work. If you want to take a COVID test, please do. If you don't want, don't go. Second, colleagues, when you write to me a note here, tell me who you are. Yeah, you just write and you say, yeah. And then, colleagues, whom I called to present your matters and you are not here, Parliament already starts at 2. It doesn't start at 3 p.m. Next item. Procedure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the procedural matter I'm raising relates to the applicability of our rules, specifically Rule 41, which provides that every Thursday we shall have the Prime Minister's question time. I've looked at the order paper and this item is not there. I wanted to inquire, Mr. Speaker, whether this is by design or an omission, and in that case, members who are here available to ask the Prime Minister could be given opportunity to ask questions. I personally have questions for the Prime Minister. I want to know what time I would be able to raise that. Thank you very much. And the Prime Minister, just to inform you, I've seen some people complain that I'm going to destroy your microphone. It's going to be safe. I don't have that intention.
Thank you, Honorable colleague. Honorable colleague, when the presiding officer is making an order paper, there are very many issues that they put into consideration. We've always had Prime Minister's time. Today, our focus was on the action reports. We have passed very many resolutions as a parliament which have not been acted upon. We felt that the Prime Minister should use this time to look into this, but next week you're going to have Prime Minister's time. The Prime Minister is whispering to me, but I will be sharing with her. Next item.
Item number 3, laying of papers. 79 retired diplomats and ambassadors who have not received their retirement benefits.
Minister for Public Service.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, at the 8th sitting of the second meeting, the second session of this parliament on the 16th of November 2022, Honorable Ravshaija Margaret Namubiru, MP Workers Representative.
Honorable, you're laying the paper. Honorable.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg today details regarding
the 79 retired diplomats and ambassadors who have not received their retirement benefits. I beg to lay.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Job well done. This one is referred to the Committee on Public Service because I know there are many colleagues who have such a related issues to be dealt with conclusively without even reporting back here. To be dealt with conclusively, the Committee on Public Service. So that if there is any member who has an issue, they go there, and then the chairperson of the committee will liaise with the office of the speaker, and we see if there are other pending issues, then we will be guiding so forward. But Honorable Minister, in regard to issues of public service and discrepancies in salaries, legal officers in police, you have taken them back to ordinary salaries. They were supposed to be paid as judicial officers. You had started it, all of a sudden you took them back from 5.4 to 1 point something. They are complaining seriously. Honorable Minister, pilots of police are not being paid as scientists. I hope that you've sorted it out. Yes, but legal officers in police, Honorable Minister, please tap. I've received very many messages from them. I kindly request you to follow up on that issue and you reconcile. Yeah. Next item.
Item number 4, motion for resolution of Parliament to pay tribute to the late Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogerere for his eminent and dedicated service to the Republic of Uganda.
Right, Honorable Prime Minister. Our colleagues, this is the colleague, this is the senior leader, senior elder in our country who served us diligently, whose debate should add to the national ethos. A debate that can enrich our nation, not a debate that should divide us, but rather a debate which should bring us all together. And I hope we shall take that route.
Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I move under Rule 56 of our Rules of Procedure to pay tribute to the late Dr. Paulo Kawanga Semogerere for his eminent and dedicated service to the Republic of Uganda. Whereas the Parliament of Uganda received with deep sorrow the sad news of the demise of Dr. Kawanga Semogerere, which occurred on Friday, 18th November 2022, aware that Dr. Kawanga Semogerere had a distinguished career serving in various capacities on the African continent, in the government of Uganda, and as a political leader of the Democratic Party. Recognizing that Dr. Kawanga Semogerere has served the government of Uganda in several key responsibilities. Recognizing that Dr. Kawanga Semogerere was a firm advocate and a promoter of the democracy in the Democratic Party. Cognizant that Dr. Kawanga Semogerere successfully led Democratic Party as president for 25 years and was one of those who contributed to constitutionalism in Uganda. Appreciating that Dr. Kawanga Semogerere was a particularly dedicated and significant and dignified leader who immeasurably participated and contributed to in shaping the pre and post independence democratic governance and political leadership of Uganda. Now, therefore, be it resolved that 1. Parliament collectively conveys its deep condolences to the bereaved family, relatives, friends, the Democratic Party, and the people of Uganda for the loss of a distinguished and noble citizen. Number two, that Parliament takes cognizance of the service that Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogerere has rendered to the Democratic Party and the people of Uganda. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I beg to move.
Thank you. Right Honorable Prime Minister. Is the motion seconded? Rob, Honorable Uda, Government Chief Whip, Attorney General.
By the whole House.
The whole House. Thank you. Would you like to speak to your motion, Right Honorable Prime Minister?
Yes. Justification, Honorable Speaker, that on Friday, 18th November 2022, we received sad news of the death of Honorable Dr. Paulo Kawanga Semogerere, an accomplished politician and leader. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Honorable Dr. Paulo Kawanga Semogerere was born on February 11th, 1932 at the Rumangi Catholic Mission in Sese Islands, present-day Karangala district, to the late Joseph Bagenda Kapere, a fisherman, and the late Maria Luisa Namwendero, a homemaker. He completed his primary education at Kisubi Primary School. Then St. Henry's Kitovu for secondary education and joined St. Mary's College Kisubi for higher school in 1946. He was a cadet, head prefect, and the president of the debating society. In 1952, he completed the Cambridge intermediate examination and was admitted to Makerere University, where he joined the local students' union. In 1954, Right Honorable Speaker, he was elected vice president of the Students' Guild. In 1955, he was selected as an exchange student, where he attended Regents College in USA before returning to Uganda to graduate as a biology and chemistry teacher in 1957. In his brief teaching service, he carried out teaching practice at Namiriango College, where two of his best students were Mr. Aloysius Njala, later a director of Bank of Uganda, and Justice Francis Sekandi. He later moved to St. Leo's Chegove in Fort Portal. Honorable Speaker, in 1990, he was awarded a honorary doctorate in humanities and letters by Alma Mater Regents College, Mediville, USA. In 1961, Paulo Semogerere ran as the DP candidate in Mengo North, part of Mulemezi County, where he was elected. He traveled with Beni Chiwanuka across the country and internationally. Paulo Semogerere became DP Publicity Secretary in 1962 to 1969, when political parties were banned, and together with Beni Chiwanuka, they were arrested and detained without trial under the Public Order and Security Act of 1967. 1972, he replaced Ben Chiwanuka as the leader of the Democratic Party, having served him as a parliamentary secretary. After a reported stage car accident in 1972, Paulo Semwogerere escaped as a serviceman aboard a railway freight car, disguised by a friend and later editor of the Citizen, Mr. Cheyune. He crossed into Kenya and was admitted as a refugee in Baltimore in 1972. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, this reminds us of the political journey Uganda has gone through since independence up to when the NRM government took power. In 1973, he joined Maxwell School of Citizen and Public Affairs as sanctuaries. In May 1974, he married Jeremina Namatov, and together they have children. In 1980, he assumed the leadership of Democratic Party and contested for president, and he became leader of opposition in parliament from 1981 to 1985. From 1986 to 1995, Dr. Semwogerere was appointed and served as Minister for Internal Affairs, Second Deputy Prime Minister, and Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Affairs, and later Second Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister for Public Service under the NRM government. During all this time, he remained the President General of the Democratic Party. Mark that one, the way Mao is. In June 1995, he officially resigned his cabinet position to contest in the 1996 presidential elections, which he lost to the NRM candidate Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. In the year 2005, he retired as Democratic Party president, a position he held for 25 years to private business. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, on 26 September 2016, Dr. Paulo Kawanga Semwogerere was awarded a Golden Jubilee Medal number 1037 by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni at Kampala Serena Conference Center. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, His Excellency the President granted the late Dr. Paulo Kawanga Semwogerere an official burial. We wish to extend our sincere sympathies and condolence to the bereaved family, friends, and the Democratic Party that he held for 25 years, and the people of North Mengo, whom he represented in the Legislative Assembly. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, may the Almighty God grant his soul eternal rest. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister. Leader of Opposition. As a seconder. I'm told he is the former Secretary General. They elected him, but I don't know whether he assumed office at any time of the Democratic Party. It's free sitting, honorable colleagues, so you can stand any side.
Mr. Speaker, it is so delighting to see the Honorable General Mohoz saying I should be here to supervise him. And I know that those days are coming. And by the grace of God, I promise him that I will be his very good supervisor. Speaker and colleagues, I want to very warmly thank.
Honorable, 5 minutes.
No, that cannot be true.
I have total of 30 minutes. Okay, if you read the order paper. So I'm the one who gives.
Mr. Speaker, the most bereaved now should be heard. And unlike other times, my prayer for time is stronger this time. I pray that God will grant you the patience to accord me as you have always done. Permit me, Right Honorable Speaker, to thank the Prime Minister and my very own Right Honorable Robin Anabanja for moving this motion that I rise to support with my heart and soul. Before I commence, let me also say thank you to government. The government here on your right for granting Dr. Semogerere the kind of burial that he so deserved. And I now rise to second the motion brought by the Prime Minister, although with a small amendment at the end among the prayers. It has become common, and I pray it continues, that when we lose such a dignified person who has served not only with commitment but distinction, we name something in memory of such people. And I would pray that the powers that be find pleasure in naming a road and a prime road after Dr. Semogerere for the diligent service. A number of things have been said about Dr. Semogerere that I do not want to repeat and are factual, but I'll make some few factual corrections. It is true that Dr. Semogerere, now late, departed on 18th November 2022, and the nation has since been united in profound grief for a singular life which more than sums up the mind of many for the kind of Uganda they aspire. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, any attempt to appraise the life of Dr. Semogerere is odious, an exercise and a tall order at the same time. I will only attempt all the same in the hope that I will do justice to his larger-than-life profile. I knew Dr. Semogerere from childhood as a close friend to my late father, and as our representative both in Parliament and Constituent Assembly representing the people of the Siro South constituency where I'm born. From the humble beginnings, he was the last of the 8 children born to Joseph Bagenda Kapere, a fisherman, as mentioned by the Prime Minister, and Maria Luisa Namwendero on 11th February 1932 at Rumanji Catholic Mission in Sese Islands in the present-day Kalangala district. He came early to grief when he lost his father in 1933, and that is 1 year later, and grew up under the charge of the Catholic White Sisters in Chisubi, where his mother worked as a domestic cook to support the young family. He would later attend St. Mary's College, Chitovu, Chisubi, Makerere University, Allegan College in Medieval, Pennsylvania, and obtained a doctorate in public administration, in addition to the honorary doctorate mentioned by the Prime Minister. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Mahatma Gandhi remarkably stated that the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. I can't agree more than that. That the life and career of Dr. Semogere resonates accurately with Gandhi's timeless discourse. In 1958, at the age of 27, he resigned from his comfortable teaching job to join and work with the late Right Honorable Ben Kiwanuka here at Parliament. In 1961 to 62, he was elected member of the LegCo, where he represented the country with diligence, and later represented or was a member of Parliament for North Mengo, as mentioned by the Prime Minister. It is also true that in 1969, together with the late Ben Kiwanuka, was detained under the Public Order and Safety Act passed by the regime in power then in 1967. He has witnessed and personally taken the brunt of the state's repression of political opposition and its reliance on security responses to political matters. I personally witnessed how he was brutalized with tear gas and bullets while attending graduation parties of two young Democrats he had helped educate at Nkozi and Kamuli. I was in attendance. In addition to the brutality he suffered at the Constitution Square, again in my presence during the quest for the restoration of multi-party democracy in Uganda. Dr. Semogere was again thrust into the deep affairs after the NCC voted Professor Lee out of office on June 20th, 1979. All of you are still having memories, if you were born then, of the famous No Lay No Work and what followed at the current Constitutional Square. He continued to be DP for as long as political parties were allowed to operate. And I wish to make a correction. It is not true that while he served under the NRM government, he was the president of the Democratic Party, because political parties had been suspended until the promulgation of the 1995 Constitution under Article 269 that he fought with vigor until it was amended or repealed. The late Dr. Semogere would go to lead the opposition in Parliament under those very difficult circumstances, and where he served both as leader of the opposition and Minister for Defense, Shadow Minister for Defense. When the government took power, the government in power in the 1980s was being fought on several fronts by many others, among others. There was Rural Movement, the Uganda Freedom Movement, UFM, the Uganda National Rescue Front, the former National Resistance, the former Uganda National Army, FUMA, and then the NRA. Dr. Semogere resorted to serving as leader of the opposition and used that office to rescue countless lives from the infamous Pandagari. It will also be recalled that at some point in 1982, Dr. Semogere announced that he had opened up a black book in which he was compiling and cataloging the excesses of the regime in power then. The innovation was a deterrent and helped to keep the regime in check, even when some people ridiculed that endeavor. To him, it was an approach that would guarantee peace and stability. In 1994 to 95, and this has been omitted, he represented the people of Busiro in the constitution-making process and contributed greatly to the making and development of constitutionalism, although he refused to sign the constitution on account of the ban on political parties under the then Article 269 that he fought vigorously. Dr. Semogere, who had served as cabinet minister under the presidency of General Tito Okello Lutwa, and General Yoweri Museveni, resigned on 13th June 1995 and emerged as the joint opposition candidate under the IPFC, the Interpolitical Forces Corporation, deputized by our very own Mama Cecilia Tim Ogwal Barbara. And he pushed for the agenda of returning to multi-party democracy. And I wish to emphasize, he was uniting with the people he had accused of rigging his election, and therefore working to bring Uganda together again. The Democrat in him pushed for the agenda of returning multi-party democracy in the country. He sought amendment of the Constitution to repeal Article 269 and to demilitarize politics by scrapping army representation in Parliament and emphasize the implementation of the Minimum Economic Recovery Program. He pursued litigation, numerous constitutional petitions as an alternative to violence. Right Honorable Speaker, the late was a vanguard of democracy and rule of law, even in circumstances of extreme disagreement and adversity. When President Yusuf Lule was removed from office by a vote of the National Consultative Council, Dr. Semogerere brought the first of what would be the landmark constitutional petition challenging the removal from office. Justices of the Constitutional Court agreed with him, although holding that the matter had been overtaken by events. Little wonder, Right Honorable Speaker, that in the run-up to 2000 referendum of political systems, when the Parliament passed a Referendum and Other Provisions Act without quorum in contravention of the Constitution, Dr. Semogerere, together with his two deputies, the Honorable Zachary Olum and Honorable Reina Kafire, brought a constitutional petition seeking to nullify the act and succeeded. In all, he would later bring 5 landmark constitutional cases which set the stage for the return to multi-party politics and enhancement of our jurisprudence. Right Honorable Speaker, his death culminates into 90 years of a solid character of steadfast loyalty to the country, high level of integrity, a stellar record of service to the public, and deep sense of nationalism. A twin unshakable faith in God and the church, as well as unquestionable commitment to the motherland. Dr. Semogerere's commitment to his country was critically underpinned by the understanding that beyond all manner of thought and idea, Uganda is bigger than any one individual or any one institution. To this, he tirelessly applied all his endeavors. I'll recall with fondness that in 1993, he chaired the Committee for the Coronation of His Majesty Ronald Mwenda Mutebi II, for which he was awarded a medal by His Majesty the Kabaka. To this end, I express deepest condolences to His Majesty the King on behalf of myself, my family, the people of Busiro that he diligently represented in Parliament, and on behalf of the entire opposition in Parliament, and on behalf of the National Unity Platform, the NUP, Ssaabasajja Kabaka kutusinze aibene. Right Honorable Speaker, I had occasion, as did some of the colleagues, to share in the disappointment of the many we extol in the evening of his life. The man, as such, I can attest to his sadness at the time of his death on the state of affairs he lives in his country. He was particularly saddened at the increasing number of abductions and political intolerance in the country by state operatives. The growing authoritarianism and the country's weak institutions, the assault on constitutionalism and rule of law, the uncertainty arising out of the debate on political succession, economic stagnation, and the youth bulge yet without assurance of a stable future, so immensely troubled him and did as many issues. This is a far cry from the Uganda he tirelessly worked for and applied himself to all his life, his adult life. Right Honorable Speaker, if any in his memory and honor, this is a renewed call for deliberate sacrifice on our part to deliver reforms to the electoral landscape and validate the legitimacy of the aspirations of our people to decide how they are led, to deliver equitable opportunity and services across the nation. Right Honorable Speaker, it is well within my belief, as it should be, for all and sundry, that condolences are in order to the widow, my sister, Professor Dr. Jamina Namatovu Semogerere, Paul Semakula, Carol Semogerere, Anna Namakula, Immaculate Chibuka, and all other children, the many that he has mentored through various forms of mentorship and education, including those that have abandoned him for greener pastures in their political diaspora in the current government. I therefore, without reservation, second this motion with amendment that the powers find it within their minds to name a befitting prime road in his memory and appreciation. I beg to submit for God and my country. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Leader of Opposition. I thought you would thank me for giving you the time, as requested.
It is so deserving, and I do without reservation. Thank you, sir.
So, colleagues, yes, Dean of Independence. So if Dean of Independence is not here, I will, no, I don't have any prior information. Refer to my office appointing any of the independents to replace Mr. Zijan, Honorable Zijan Livingston. Let me start with Mama Cecilia Ogwad. Now, colleagues, because we have other business to do, we are displaying pictures of the late Honorable Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogere for visitors and other people to see. I think I will give Mama Cecilia Ogwad 3 minutes, the rest we shall use 2 minutes. Okay? And I'll pick around 6 members. Yeah.
Right Honorable Speaker, I welcome you back from the long absence. And I also want to thank you for giving me an opportunity to pay tribute to my fallen brother and friend. Right Honorable Speaker, it is true that talking about Paul Semogere in 2, 3, or 4 minutes is very difficult. But I would want to summarize the life of Paul Semogere in just three words, I would say. First, the moment I got to know Paul Semogere through Honorable Sam Kutesa and Kafume Mukasa, I knew him as a Democratic Party member. I knew him as a Catholic Christian, and I knew him as a Democrat and an activist in the restoration of the country at any stage in our political journey. Right Honorable Speaker, Paul Semogere started his journey from the deep end of the pool of politics. He started in the 60s when Buganda was divided as far as political opinion was concerned. The Baganda thought that the only way that we would drive Uganda as a united country was by having an indirect election in both the 1960, 61, and 62 elections. But the Paul Semogere, who were known to be the nationalist forces, resisted. And as a result, for those of us who want to know about the history, and that's what made me very excited about keeping keeping close to Paul Semogere to learn more. Paul Semogere decided to mobilize Democratic Party to defy the mood in Buganda. And in 1960, although the Buganda as such were not properly represented because they did not register, but the Democratic Party swept Buganda. And indeed, Right Honorable Speaker, for those of us who want to learn, and I always prefer to learn from my past mistakes or strengths, the Democratic Party gave away free the platform that they had shaped. And I would now later on, the Uganda People's Congress being united with the KY swept the entire ground politically. And Right Honorable Speaker, the same thing happened when NUP swept Uganda in the last year's election. I made a statement. I said that spirit of KY has reemerged in Buganda. And I don't think I was wrong. And Buganda has always wanted something that it can identify itself with the traditional value of Buganda. They saw it in the 60s through KY. They have seen it again through NUP. And therefore, like it or love it, that is it, the way I have known it. Right Honorable Speaker, I led a walkout of 47 members in the Constituent Assembly to reaffirm that statement that don't joke with Buganda when it comes to federal. I am a Lango from the village of Dokolo. I led that walkout of 47 members. There were 66 members of Buganda in the Constituent Assembly, but we only got 28 Baganda to join us in the walkout. So if there is any complaint, let the Baganda complain about itself first before you blame the others. Right Honorable Speaker, to say, how do I remember Paul Semogere? Two things. The president having been in power for 15 years, when we went for the 1996 election, 15 years, we were given 39 days to campaign to usher in a government. In 39 days, we were able to get 27% of the popular votes. So if we were to go by Paul Semogere's dream of the proportional representation, the opposition would have been 27% represented in the 6th parliament. But we were not that represented, so we lost out. So Right Honorable Speaker, let nobody underrate the value that Paul Semogere had in the politics of Uganda. And I'm surprised that this government would wake up at the last minute and give Paul Semogere that glorious send out, instead of giving him the glorious life before his departure. They gave him glorious send out, which to me, it hurts me. There are so many Semogere still with us. Please look for them now. Don't wait to give them glorious send out. That is my prayer. And Right Honorable Speaker, remember Paul Semogere as a reconciler, as a man who always emerged whenever there was a problem. Remember, as the mover and the seconder have said, that Paul Semogere was arrested in 1969, September, for those of you who read history, and he was rescued by Idi Amin. But Paul Semogere was willing to work with us. He did not remember the arrest of the past. And that is very important. Members, let us not shape our history by what happened yesterday. Let's look at today and let's walk forward depending on what we want Uganda to be. May God rest his soul in peace.
Thank you, Honorable Baba.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues. The late Semogere, Dr. Semogere, was Minister of Foreign Affairs for over a decade, where I was also an officer in the ministry. In paying tribute to him, I want to thank him for the work he did as the Foreign Minister of Uganda. I want to pay tribute to him for the protection he gave to Foreign Service officers in the ministry. As a Foreign Service officer, it's a very competitive job. It is one of the top civil service jobs in this country. And when you join it, you hope to rise up to the ambassadorial level. From grade 1, from grade 6 to grade 1, ambassadorial level. That is the wish and hope and aspiration of every foreign services who joins. And Dr. Semogera, as foreign minister, protected this. So officers like me rose to become ambassadors and head missions, fly the Uganda flag to represent the country. Now these aspirations of foreign service officers are almost dashed. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to plead to my government, I want to plead to my president, that when these young men join the Foreign Service Office, they aspire to be ambassadors, to reach the top of their levels, like the army do. You join the army and you rise to become a general. Like the doctors do, you rise to become a senior consultant. Like the police, you become an inspector general of police. But these foreign officers are now reduced to working in headquarters or working as second field.
Conclude, Honorable.
Lastly, the late Semogera did not believe in winner takes all. He was a consensus builder. He was very consultative. And this is the spirit we need in this country. Consultative, consensus building, and working together. I think this is one of the biggest legacies he has left for us in this country. I thank you for giving me this opportunity, but please let the government listen and give these young men to rise to their positions and head missions. At the moment, there's only one ambassador, a career diplomat in Saudi Arabia. The rest are all political appointees. The president has the prerogative to appoint, but I appeal to my president, give these young men at least a quarter or even a minimum representation in some of these missions so that they can be satisfied in their career. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Rumu. Colleagues, there is a balance I'm trying to get here. We have around 3 DP members around here. We're having some elders who work with the red, also having the young. So I'm trying to balance. Be patient.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And for those who abandon DP, be seated for now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. It is
order.
I'm very proud, Mr. Speaker, that today I'm talking about a person in the names of Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogere, who actually mentored most of the leaders you are seeing here. Mr. Speaker, when we joined the Democrat Party, we actually joined the UID, which was the youth wing of the Democratic Party. He always trained us. One thing I remember about Dr. Semogere, he was devoid of corruption. He was a very, very incorruptible person. You could not actually corrupt him. Secondly, he was a down-to-earth man, very humble man. You would not even think that he was once a prime minister of this country. Mr. Speaker, one time he said that if there is anything to die for, you die fighting for your country. I think whatever he did in his capacity, he died fighting for the rights of the people of this country. And for that, we shall remember him. Secondly, I was reminding Mama Cecilia here, in the 1996 elections, I was with Mama Cecilia and Dr. Kawanga Semogere in Otuke. I was there. but he could not remember, she could not remember, but I reminded her. I was the one pushing the car of Dr. Semogerere to actually mobilize the people to support Dr. Semogerere. I moved with him, and one thing I learned from him, if you want to do something, get determined to do it, and you'll always achieve. As I pushed the car, I'm right in this house as a member of parliament because of his training. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, he died thinking of federalism. I had Mama Cecilia talking about it. He was one of the 47 people who actually walked out from the constituency assembly. One of the things he died thinking about is how this country one day will attain a federal status. And he gave even an example of the German model. He loved it, and he thought that this is the only way this country can get balanced development. Mr. Speaker, if it could be necessary, probably one day that topic will be brought to this parliament for us to discuss it and probably give Semogerere the best he could achieve for this country, a federal system of governance for this country. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chinyamatama. The young people also know.
Yes. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And thank you so much for giving the young people way. First of all, I rise to second the motion. And as a young person, I think we have learned a lot from his life of service to this country. And the biggest attribute is the unifying factor that he gave at the time Uganda was being torn apart by the politics at that time. Uganda came first in all his thoughts, and he was very objective. He never considered religion or tribes or political parties. So Uganda is united because of his great effort that he played during the CA period. I beg to submit. Thank you.
Honorable Jim Akena.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the Uganda People's Congress and on my own behalf,
Colleagues, order. Let's listen to one another.
we in the Uganda People's Congress share in the grief which has befallen the Democratic Party and the family of the late Paul Kawanga Semogerere. The last conversation I had with him was on the 1996 elections. And he was questioning how or whether my father totally supported his bid for the presidency. And I assured him that the struggle for multi-party politics was forefront. And it was clear that we do not have to agree on everything, but so long as the common ideal for better Uganda is before us, we can work with anyone in whatever circumstance. I am a little disappointed with the researchers in the office of the Prime Minister on some of the elements in the tribute. One thing which was not captured, there was a lot of events which happened towards the end of 1969. Number one, the first president of Uganda and the King of Buganda passed away in November of 1969. About a month later, at the Delegates Conference of Uganda People's Congress, where the matter of whether to go one-party state or multi-party was prominent in that Delegates Conference, and the late president of Zambia, the late president of Tanzania attended that Delegates Conference. At the end of that conference, Milton Obote was shot in Lugogo Stadium. After being shot, a grenade was thrown which did not explode. Now, this is the context under which the then Minister of Internal Affairs issued statutory instrument number 233 of 1969. And I'm sure the Attorney General can guide us that a statutory instrument cannot ban political parties. That proof of this is 1980 elections were held under the 67 Constitution, which was enacted by UPC.
And UPC, when it had the opportunity to write its own constitution, did not put in any article like Article 269 and remove the political parties. Hold the view at surely.
Can you get another microphone, Honorable Korik, and you conclude? You see, colleagues, we have a few presidents in this house. So I want us to benefit.
For us in the Uganda People's Congress, are confident and assured that we won the 1980 elections fair and square. The fact, and it's good that I've got opposition here, I think it is very important if we're to resolve questions of history, because we're all creatures of this history, let us conclusively determine what happened in 1980, because as far as I can follow, it is hearsay. I've read the Hansard of the 1980s when Paul Semogerere was in this very chamber. These issues did not go to the extent where people today talk that the 1980 elections were rigged. What I can say frankly and clearly, that opportunity gave others who were ready and prepared to struggle for the instruments of power and to control the government, that gave them the green light. As we stand today, we must lay a foundation which will prevail, whereby anyone who wants to lead this country should go with their manifesto, speak to the people, get the mandate of the people, and come and govern. These other routes, I don't think it's tenable. And on that basis, us in the Uganda People's Congress and the Democrats hold that that is the route that we must follow. The route of democracy. I must hold the Democrat.
Thank you.
I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Now, colleagues, please. I can see, I would want us to refocus the debate. What is happening today? Because I saw issues of 1980 elections when they came in. I saw some faces turning, which were smiling, they started getting, wrinkled. Now, some of us were not born when you were in those elections. I was not yet born. Okay? So I don't want to preside over a debate over issues which happened before I was born. Okay? No. I have other things to read. I'm looking at the future. If you didn't sort your issues, so you'll allow me to pick Honorable Mugore Stephen.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to pay tribute to a fallen hero in the name of Dr. Semogerere. I recollect in 1995, around November, when I was a young man, in the company of Honorable Cecilia Ogwal, the late Adonia Teverondwa, the late Yona Kanyomozi, and the late Patrick Mwanda, who used to call himself a political blade of Usoga, presented to Dr. Semogerere by Reina Kafire, who was our former member of parliament. Dr. Semogerere had said during the interpolitical forces that even when he becomes the president, he will still be a minister for truth and reconciliation. So he was a conciliator. He wanted to form a ministry for truth and reconciliation. And because of the speech I made as a youth, the group headed by Honorable Cecilia Ogwal, who was the deputy by then too, they appointed me then that I would be the DRO, District Reconciliation Officer of Palisa, if we had one.
So are you among people who abandoned DP?
No. I came as a youth. That was interpolitical forces cooperation. And I was a youth who came and made a speech presented, who was brought to them by Honorable Reina Kafire, and Dr. Semogerere appointed him that when we win, and I can tell you, Palisa district then, which has 4 districts, we got 55% for Dr. Semogerere. What made me leave these people?
Switch on and conclude. Switch on and conclude, Honorable.
When elections came,
What made you?
what made me leave
Yeah.
is Dr. Semogere was betrayed by his own people. That even in Usiro, he was defeated. And all of us that side now turned and became NRM because his own people had betrayed him. But he was a very, very good reconciliator who wanted this government and this country to be peaceful at all the time. So that's why I remember him.
Thank you. Yes. Honorable.
So rest in peace.
Thank you.
Thank you, Right
I think-
Honorable
I think
Speaker.
she's the only DP lady in the house, so better listen to her.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to pay tribute to the late Dr. Semogere on behalf of all the young generation to which I belong. We were privileged to tap into the wisdom of the late, despite having come to leadership at a young age. Right Honorable Speaker, the late was a mentor. He was a leader. He derived his joy in mentoring the youth, the young generation. We can all testify that so many of us leaders in this parliament passed through the hands of the late Dr. Semogere.
Colleagues, please, let's have order.
Right Honorable Speaker, what he did, sharing his wisdom to the young generation, was such a great deed indeed. My plea to leaders of this generation, the ones who are older than us, our elders, take time to mentor the youth. Take time to train the leaders of tomorrow. So many of us here are leaders because of the late. So I implore the elders, create leaders of tomorrow, the leaders you'd wish to leave this country in the hands of, the leaders you'd want to lead your children who you are giving back to right now. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Taringaya. Are you among the people who abandoned him?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to pay tribute to a great man, Dr. Paul Semogere. I'll make comments about the time I knew him. One, come 1980, during the general elections, that's when I first met him, when we were campaigning for Dr. Joseph Opio Lawyer as our guild president. Dr. Semogere was very calm. Even when we met in the Faculty of Agriculture, when Dr. Adoko Nichon was then prevented to speak on radio, and we were choosing Dr. Semogere of not helping out, he remained calm. He said, because Dr. Nichon was a brother to Dr. Apollo Milton Obote, he chose to keep calm. And that's when I saw that what he stood for, truth and justice, he came to this house even after we felt that the elections had been grabbed from under his feet. Yes, because
Honorable, remain focused, you're protected. People want to grab your microphone the way they grab.
for us, we remained focused. And he also remained focused and came here to defend the right
Conclude, Honorable.
that had voted him as a member of parliament. So I just pray to this house that what Dr. Semogere stood for, truth and justice and peace in this country, this government which I serve and the rest of us live to make sure that there is always peaceful change of government and we live in peaceful harmony. May his soul rest in it.
Honorable Megade.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, if P.K. Semogere was an academy, many of us would have been part of that academy. I started with Red Semogere's son, Paul Semakula, in the same class at Namilyango. And so the late, because we are from the same clan, the Rugavi clan, and from the islands, he called him his son. And when we joined university, during our days, where Mr. Speaker, I also recall, where I was a UID, and you belonging somewhere. Honorable Speaker, we were part of this academy. And when it came to 2011, I remember having a private conversation with the late Semogere because I had developed political interest at a higher level. And the issue was, which party are you going to contest on? Buvuma was the NRM stronghold. And the late PK, after that conversation, said, if you are sure you will win an NRM ticket, you have my blessing. I won, and since that day, we have remained. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker.
Colleagues, please. Colleagues,
Right Honorable Speaker.
we are listening to what transpired in a private conversation. You
Right
are not
Honorable
there
Speaker.
to doubt anything. So,
Right Honorable Speaker, since that day, I've been very comfortable where the late PK sent me. That is in the NRM, because he gave me a blessing. But what do we learn from this? Honorable Speaker, today, people can even change political parties 10 times for purposes of either going to parliament or winning local government elections. They are able to change even 10. Actually, most of us, even on this side, are now in different political parties. So the late PK was a very good leader at a wrong time. Probably those at that time never understood him. And it is fortunate that for us who are around today can understand and appreciate his contributions to this country. What message do we take? Today, people, when it comes to politics, it is a matter of life and death. PK, whether actually here he lost or he won, but he never went to court. The Honorable Speaker, last time, in 2021, we had 106 court petitions, specifically for members of parliament. Even the fourth person.
Honorable colleague, please, you concluded. Honorable Huda, then Honorable Felix Sokot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to support the motion. Right Honorable Speaker, aware that late Semogere had aged He was weak, but he had an immense oceans of experience and wisdom. That was enough to be given for the young people. Therefore, his passing means that the young people in this country have lost all that immense experience that he's supposed to give for us. Right Honorable Speaker, late Sam Gerere contested in 1996 in West Nile sub-region. Let me talk specifically about Arua. He got 93%. The whole of almost North vote for Sam Gerere. That night, our young men, the energetic, got all their bows and arrows. They were fighting against the army men who were in uniform and who had a gun, protecting the votes of Sam Gerere. Whether you were young or old, whether you were 18 years to vote, all of us were lined to vote, even if we were not 18 years. That's how we got that 93% in West Nile. But what surprised
Honorable,
me,
you're saying he even got it by rigging. Because even those ones who are not yet of voting age voted.
I'm just trying to emphasize to you how the North was for late Sam Gerere. That is the emphasis that I'm putting. But in our own dismay, we were really betrayed here. Right Honorable Speaker, even by that time, the people of West Nile even wanted to walk up to Kampala to come and defend their votes. But the person they were died for was not supported where he came from. That was not enough. Again in 2001, when Besigye contested, we all voted for him, but the people of North were betrayed here. Therefore, the people of North learned a lesson. They have changed. This time when we voted for the current government, we were finger pointed at. We were blamed at. But for how long will the people of North be betrayed? You tell us to move to the left. When we are moving to the left at night, you turn and move to the right. Right, Honorable Speaker.
Order. Order, colleagues.
These are very painful experiences, but sometimes such incidents make us to say what we went through. But what do we learn from Honorable Sam Gerere or from late Sam Gerere?
Conclude, Honorable Switch on and conclude.
First of all, in peace.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Honorable. Thank you. Honorable Koto Gong, followed by Honorable Kayondo, DP Mukono.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to pay tribute to the gallant son of Uganda. And I want to pass my sympathies and condolences to his family, to Parliament, to the President, and to Uganda at large. Mr. Speaker, I first in 1996 through Cecilia Ogwal. That time we were campaigning for him. I was the agent and immediate agent for Cecilia Ogwal because we were all mobilized to support him. That time we were promised that through Cecilia Ogwal, that Semogerere was going to win. And I met him in closed door in our house in Lira. And I was really convinced that this time we were going to take over. The second point that Cecilia Ogwal actually made to me and to us was that this is the opportunity for us from Lango to reconcile with Buganda. And we all supported Semogerere. Lango voted Semogerere 97.6%. That was the point of reconciliation. And that is what Uganda needs right now. I want to inform this parliament, if we want peace in this country, we must agree to leave the past and live in the present and reconcile with everyone. The second point that we should note from Semogerere, he was a very humble man. I met him in a house. Very simple, very humble, very sober. Very sober, by the way. That time we were running up and down, but he was calm. Actually, they even lied me one time. My sister Cecilia Ogwal told me that money is coming through Kenya. And I repeat that one. So I was informed by my elder that you boys, Lira boys, in the morning, money is coming through Kenya. We all moved everywhere. We campaigned, but I did not see that money coming. Then I went to my brother, my sister. I said, now, when is it coming? He said that was a trick so that you all mobilize. But in the real sense, Uganda needs peace. The whole of North voted Semogerere, who was not from the North. That means we are not sectarian. We voted Besije 97%. He was not from the North. This time we have voted Museveni, about 70%. Maybe next time we can give 97%. And therefore, I want to appeal to everyone in this country. The only message that we should give our people, let us do what our people want. Give them roads, give them peace, give them health, give them schools, power. You will get the votes. But don't stay here in Kampala and you don't give them those things and you want to go back to them. That will be murder. That will be catastrophe. I thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you. Colleagues, let's use only 2 minutes so that I can give more of you a chance. DP Mukono. Honorable Kayondo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when I hear such statements being spoken about Dr. Paulo Kawanga Semogerere the late, I feel I'm proud to be a DP. I feel special that I belong to Democratic Party. Honorable Speaker, I got little time to interact with the lady, but he told me 2, 3 things. He told me, Fred, disagreement does not mean hatred. It doesn't mean that the people you disagree with, you should hate them. You can disagree, but don't hate each other. Honorable Speaker, Dr. Paulo Kawanga Semogerere handed over the leadership of DP when he was still alive. It is a challenge to some of political party leaders here, whom I will not mention. I think it should be a lesson that you can live to see your successor. Honorable Speaker, I'm talking about a gentleman who didn't keep any grudge over the people he disagreed with. It is rumored that Honorable Kawanga Semogerere won the 1980 elections. I wasn't born. I was born 25th of November 1984. I was not born by then. but it is rumored. But Honorable Paul Kawanga Ssemwogerere did not even choose the route other people choose. Others claimed that simply because the elections were rigged, they went to the bush to defend the votes which were rigged. Even when they won the war, the victory was not given back to Dr. Paul Kawanga Ssemwogerere. Dr. Kawanga Ssemwogerere humbled him.
A minute to conclude, Honorable.
Honorable Speaker, people who took Dr. Paul Kawanga Ssemwogerere, who took his victory, they are here making praises over him, whose victory they took and never returned to him, Honorable Speaker. When I asked him, Honorable Kawanga Ssemwogerere, why did people choose another route for you, you didn't take? Why didn't you take that? He told me, Fred, however bad the economy of the jungle might be, the lion will not eat grass. Not because it is proud, but that is its nature. My nature is peace, and I will always remain peaceful. Dr. Kawanga Ssemwogerere remained peaceful even up to his death.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah. Now, you see, then Honorable Kayondo, you have to be very cautious. A man who was very peaceful, they want him to benefit from proceeds of the war. but he said he can't go shed blood. Now you want those who win, fought, they hand over. Yes, Abim. Abim. And then I'll pick Youth Northern. Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Then Okupa.
I want to support the motion to pay tribute to an admirable son of Uganda, the late Paul Ssemwogerere, a political stalwart, a principled man who was admired by many. Right Honorable Speaker, the late Ssemwogerere was a very objective person, and he provided very objective checks and balances that contributed to the good governance of our country. He was an opposition leader that was admired by many, and I also admired him because I also worked with him at a tender age when the people of Kotido voted me for being a very good person who completed education without getting derailed. So I am speaking about a person who was my father, who I admired very much. Right Honorable Speaker, the late Ssemwogerere was very calm person and very cool-headed. I think that is the reason he's said to be the longest serving DP president. He served from 1980 to 2005. Right Honorable Speaker, he was also a man who was down to earth, and he mentored so many, including some of us who are seated here. So we have lost a great man. We have lost a Bible and a dictionary for the country.
Thank you. Honorable Court.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I rise in support of the motion on two accounts. Number one, that the Honorable Dr. Ssemwogerere, even in his demise, will continue to be an inspiration to many young people who are interested in elective politics. Going by his biography, he was very consistent in participating in politics throughout his life. And this speaks to his belief that through politics, we can develop our communities and we can unite our people. Unlike now, where many people look at politics as a means to divide and also cause hatred, which is very unfortunate. Secondly, Right Honorable, Semogerere also spoke about the need for deliberate mentorship programs for young people.
Honorable Cooper.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I stand here to support the motion moved by the Right Honorable Prime Minister and seconded by my brother, who is the acting law today. I came to meet Dr. Semogerere in 1991 in St. Leo's College, Kyogobe, where I was a student in my A-level. He came there to address us, the students. And I picked one thing from him, that which he told us, that young people, while you are at school, while you are growing, make friends. Not just friends, but make useful friends. That has stuck to me. The friends I have are useful friends. So if you are my friend, you are a useful person, which I picked from Dr. Semogerere. Come 1996, at Makerere University, Honorable Cecily Ogwal, as mentioned earlier, mobilized us together again with the Dr. Semogerere, and I was one of the key campaigners at University Hall. After the campaign at Makerere University on that day, we went back to our halls jubilating. At around about 11:30 p.m., I was in my room with my roommate, Albert Ouma. A fellow student came with a pistol, threatening us that why were we supporting Dr. Semogerere, which was very unfortunate. We supported him because of his character, what has been described here. And that's why we supported him. His wife, Professor Gemina, was my lecturer at undergraduate and also my supervisor at the postgraduate.
Honorable Shatsi.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. On behalf of the people of Maogola North, Sembabule District, I rise to support the motion to pay tribute to the late Dr. Kawanga Semogerere. I grew up in a DP household, and at a young age, I do remember talking to, when people would come home, I would ask them at the gate, which party do you belong to? And if they didn't say DP, they didn't enter. So I was quite aware of the politics at that time, even as a young person. The late Dr. Kawanga Semogerere was a man who did not believe in violence, even when it was the only choice left to him. He was a Democrat in an era that was not ripe for his methods. He was a patient man of God. We owe him a debt of gratitude. We're grateful to the NRM government that gave him a befitting funeral. And I hope we continue to espouse the ideals of truth and justice. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. We've gone beyond the time I had allocated. I know each one of us wanted to talk about the rate because really he has had a very big contribution. Honorable Okupa is independent. Honorable Shatsi is independent. So, yeah. So honorable colleagues, you know, this is when my job becomes difficult here. You look at colleagues, you see each one was going to submit very important points, but unfortunately you're limited by time. I wish I could get more time. I would allow all of you colleagues. Colleagues, like you have all said, we have a lot of lessons to learn from the rate. Personally, I never interacted with him physically, but I interacted with him emotionally and intellectually. from the contribution he has made to the country, from his works. And of course, his name is well written into our annals of history. I think as the generation that never lived through that time, I had wanted colleagues who were in CA, and I thought Honorable Anifa had moved out because Honorable Anifa was in CA with the rate, so I had wanted to give her an opportunity. But so before I could conclude, because I don't see any other person who was in CA. Yeah, they were just a few. Yes. So the one who was in CA with the rate. Really, it's an opportunity. Even you, Honorable Cyrus, 30 years from now, we shall say those who are in the 11th parliament.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And maybe for the first time, I want to declare my interest here that, yes, I was in the CA, but even the Right Honorable Speaker, I'm the mother-in-law. Yeah. Therefore, when he gives me this opportunity again, it makes some of you, and you know, most of you refer to me as Senga. Because, yeah, and the spirit I have today, like my sister, Honorable Sirio Gwaru, whom we are together, and I think today we are still together here. The peaceful political tolerance we have, we emulated Dr. Paul Semogerere. That's what I wanted to say. Now, when you look at yourselves as of today, politically, are you tolerant to your other people? Your colleagues, even when you look from that side to our side. We have heard he was a peaceful man. Very peaceful, a unifier. He wanted to see a peaceful, stability, political Uganda. Is it what we are seeing today? And when you are there, you say, we are tired of these old people with the new generation. What are the new generation have emulated from us who have been there? My prayer, can we take this opportunity? Can we take this opportunity politically to tolerate each other, though we come from different political ideologies? As of now, I don't see anybody other than me who is still from where they started from. There are somewhere I see Honorable, my brother-in-law, Honorable Akena. You are where? What is happening this side? On that note, as a leader, as a singer, as somebody who has been there, and the little changes you are seeing in me is what I'm emulating, that we must tolerate each other politically, and we can live together. And this country is for all of us. We can shape it together. We can survive together. We can make it what we want, the good Uganda we want it to be. Those who are really advancing intolerance and violence, take it from me that it is high time we came together politically. We are here today. Other people will be here. Some of us are lucky we are here 30 years now. But let's tolerate each other for the good of our country. I thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. Colleagues, like I was saying, we have to learn from such a great men and women. I think like how we found it okay, and how we are still looking at the late Dr. Kawanga Semogerere, the person who came and worked closely with government. even other people working with government, as long as the purpose is serving our country, should be okay. To me, as long as the end result is Uganda being better, you know, not being looked at as if you've betrayed so and so because you've greeted so and so. We sit in a canteen, we laugh. We are in a bus, we laugh. But when we get on microphone, we start chopping each other. I really sometimes ask myself. And then the Honorable Semogere never feared the competition. Some of you colleagues, you're already crying that you have competitors standing. In politics, you have competition. In politics, you have competition. And if you utilize competition very well, competition makes you better. Because competition keeps you on your toes. Competition doesn't allow you to sleep. And in the end, the public benefits. So both on the side of government and on the side of opposition, we have competition. But the issue is which kind of competition? Okay? Let us have a constructive competition, a constructive exchange of ideas, the way the late Honorable Semogere was doing it. Another thing, when you look at the size of the late Semogere, you can see he was a man living healthy. To reach 90 years, I think it requires a size like his. We have to work on our bodies. We have to work hard. You see, you can see my Prime Minister here. The moment she goes on a treadmill, you can't dare her. I've seen her. So let's try to live healthy. Let's look after our bodies very well so that we can live longer and people benefit from us. Otherwise, if you're to walk just around 10 meters and you're already panting and, struggling, then we, especially the young people, won't be. Please stop mentioning names here. Yes. So I want to thank the Right Honorable Prime Minister and government and the opposition for working together to pay tribute to this great statesman. You're giving a very good example to the nation that on matters of national priority, you can work together. And that is very, very important, especially for the young generation. Now, colleagues, I want to put a question on the motion for a resolution of Parliament to pay tribute to the late Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogere for his eminent and dedicated service to the Republic of Uganda. Those in favor say aye, and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Next item, clerk extract the resolution and pass it on to the family.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. With your indulgence, I just wanted to point out that the motion did not stop at that. I moved an amendment on naming a prime road after the late Dr. Semogere, and the question has not been put on that. I would request that you be pleased to put that question for completeness. Thank you very much.
Honorable colleague, I think I've seen many roads named after very many people, and I don't think it is usually through such emotions. It's by the time government brings such a motion, if you work very closely with your sister, it can be done without even, resolutions. So, Honorable Prime Minister, you can comment on that. We move. We don't need the parliamentary resolutions on naming of roads. Colleagues, next item. I've already honorable colleague, please.
Mr. Speaker, motions are not dealt with that way. A motion is resolved here. I appreciate your guidance, and it is good guidance as a leader. But the way we deal with motions here is that a motion is put, a question is put on the motion and is decided. I would implore you.
And that's what I've done.
No. You have not put a question on the second leg of the motion for it to be handled by Parliament.
Clerk, next item.
Item number 5. Presentation of action taken report on the resolutions of the 11th Parliament, May 2021 to May 2022.
Right Honorable Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I move under Rule 220 of our Rules of Procedure to submit before this House the action taken report
Procedure, Mr.
on
Speaker.
resolution
Procedure,
of
Mr. Speaker.
the first
Procedure.
Procedure.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The procedural matter I want to raise, Right Honorable Speaker, and I beg your indulgence, is on the issue my colleague Resoga Segona had put, and you had asked the Right Honorable Prime Minister to make a comment. Dr. Semogere was a peaceful man. I don't want us to live here with a divided thing. It's a very simple thing which can be done. It's not some difficult thing. So procedurally, would it be right for the Prime Minister? Just give a nod and we move peacefully. As we
Honorable Cooper, I've spoken to the rope. If you are watching, we have reconciled the position. We'll handle it in our own cubicles. Right Honorable Prime Minister, proceed. But she can still comment on it. If I've not stopped her if she wants to make a comment. Yeah.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, as a national leader, let me guide that there are procedures of having roads named against people, and we shall use the same procedure. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to go to the next item. Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I move under Rule 220 of our Rules of Procedure to submit before this House the action taken report on resolutions of the first session of the 11th Parliament, that is from May 2021 to May 2022. I spoke the other day about this forward. Then I would definitely go to the objectives. The objective of this report, Honorable Speaker, is to provide information to Parliament on action taken by government, ministries, departments, and agencies in fulfillment of Rule 220 of our Rules of Procedure of Parliament of Uganda. I talk about the scope. Honorable Speaker, the leader of government business in front of you we considered the resolutions of the 11th Parliament of the period from May 2021 to May 2022 and engaged the responsible ministries, departments, and agencies on the actions taken. And these ministries include the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, Ministries of Works and Transport, the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Ministry of Internal Affairs, the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs, the Ministry for the Presidency, the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, the Office of the Prime Minister, Ministry of Water, and I think they have forgotten the Ministry of Lands. The methodology we used, Right Honorable Speaker, in considering the resolutions We interacted with the office of the Clerk of Parliament. We considered the same through cabinet, like I had told you last Thursday, and held meetings with different government ministries, departments, and agencies. We also reviewed a number of documents. We used the Hansard, also used the correspondences from the office of the clerk, Parliament, to my office. The government chief whip and resolutions of Parliament. We also used the correspondences from relevant ministries, departments, and agencies. Honorable Speaker, we have chapter 2. This chapter clearly outlines the date, title, resolution, action taken by the relevant ministries. However, some of the pending resolutions require legislation and policy formulation, and the government is in the process of initiating the necessary legislation and policies. Honorable Speaker, it is at this time that I request you to allow the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs to present. And I request that members be patient because it's a big volume. And therefore, I request you, Right Honorable Speaker, to allow the Minister of Justice to start, Minister of Health, in that order. Thank you so much. I beg to submit.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister. I will want first thank you for the detailed work I've seen. I've read through the whole document. I've seen some of the resolutions. We just captured the resolution without looking at recommendation, while on some, you captured both the resolution and recommendation. So some ministries. I had in my mind, I had wanted to propose to the House that we should first go back and each minister submits independently so that we are able, because you see, these resolutions, no, the Prime Minister has done good work. No one can doubt, because you see, the duty of the Prime Minister is coordinate. You have coordinated government and the reports are ready. But how do we present them? Because when you go on the Hansard, Right Honorable Prime Minister, it was a substantive item. It must have a substantive action taken report, as per rules. Otherwise, they will all be roasting. You will never track these reports on any single day. But now, the ones which are ready, colleagues, I would propose, the ones which we are seeing out, okay? What we do, we can amend item number 5 so that we have 5 Roman 1 is justice, 5 Roman 2 is health, so that in future we are able to track. We say this action report for justice was under item 5 Roman 1. Otherwise, you will never get it. And we need the Hansard which will be used 100 years from now. And then, after each minister has presented, Right Honorable Prime Minister, we shall give an opportunity to the shadow minister. Because now we are in serious action to see, because we had a lot of debate, these are resolutions of Parliament, and these are real checks and balances we want to focus on. Otherwise, even if you don't, during debate, members are going to raise it. And the leader of opposition gave me notes. He already prepared. So when you submitted, the shadow ministers, the shadow ministers also prepared. Colleagues, I don't know whether you think this can work very well. Honorable Apea.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And thank you for these very important reports. I see it as really one of the tools
for accountability, for us to really account for what we've done and said here. Right Honorable Speaker, I've read through the report, and the report is only focusing on the resolution, which is okay. But our rules, 220, requires that you also pay attention to the recommendations. They are very critical recommendations that this House has often passed through the committee reports. But if you look at this report, in my view, it's really not capturing everything that we would have hoped to see as members of parliament. I thank you.
Yeah, to some extent, that was on our side, how we extracted the resolution and we told them to implement. But you see, Right Honorable Prime Minister, ministers are members of parliament. They are here with us. They participate in approving and adopting the reports. So really, let us work as a team. We avoid the situation of saying you didn't send me a report. When a report is on the Hansard, I think one should always access the report and the Hansard, and you look at the recommendation. I saw like the response from Trade, from Minister of Trade. It's very detailed and even heard by them. They were going recommendation by recommendation by recommendation. But some were stopping at a resolution, which is just a headline. And they focus on that. So we failed to get a very good report. Honorable, both of us say about this as a senior I don't know, Prime Minister, you know, when you speak now, your people keep quiet. So you always want to pick their views.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I think I'm tempted to agree with the guidance. And can you protect me from...
You're protected, Honorable.
I don't want to mention the name of his constituency because it sounds strange. Right, Honorable, I think as you've spoken, guided, especially on our part, we were purely responding to issues raised by Parliament. But as you've said, we could have gone beyond that. Just the resolution, I think even my ministry, I don't know whether we have any recommendations, but I think it's another additional guidance that would enrich the debate, and then we have a fully fledged report. I think I would go with your guidance.
Yeah. Thank you. Rob?
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I have always agreed with my young brother, Honorable Jacob Obos, for over 20 years. And that's why, even in law school, I would give him my books to read and my notes. But my point of departure this afternoon is whereas the minister seeks to hide under your concession that probably the extraction might not have captured everything, the rules are instructional. And the rules are saying both resolutions and recommendations. I think it is also compelling on the part of humility for us to say, yes, we all missed out something. When the matter came up and when the instruction went out, now that the presiding officer has noticed, it is upon us to look at the specific action points taken by the ministries. And we point out where a particular ministry has complied with the rules, we dispose of that. Where a ministry has not complied with the rules, we give them time to go and make good whatever has not been sorted. One, that we will not lose time, but at the same time, we'll comply with our rules by looking at both recommendations and as we said, both recommendations and resolutions. I thank you.
Thank you. So Yeah. No, the problem, recommendations were part of the resolution. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and then Honorable Katuntu.
Thank you, Right Honourable
Don't
Speaker.
mind.
Right Honourable Speaker.
I want us to agree on a very clear way that will benefit all of us.
Yes.
Huh?
Thank you. Right
So
Honourable
this is very
Speaker.
important.
The Prime Minister's task which were given is on our iPad. And the other time the presiding officer directed that we should read and internalize. We read. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to explore the Prime Minister and the various ministries. When they are coming back with a report, let them indicate the date Parliament passed the resolutions. Upon the indication of the date, let them tell us the actions that were taken. And on that action, let them be specific on the time frame of that particular action. For example, if they're saying the Minister of Works has been directed to work on the particular road, let them tell us the time frame that the government thinks the work should have started. But what we are seeing here is just quite open. They are not specific. They should be really specific so that it guides honorable member.
You see, Honorable, what we are on, the rule 220 says resolutions or recommendation. Okay? But now, for us, we want a rich response. Because if one says, oh, me, I chose a resolution, but the resolution is where we usually have very, very many issues covered. To me, as a team which works together, because Parliament and the Executive work together, if you look at the resolution, when you look at the one for Minister of Works, okay? So what they did on the resolution of Parliament urging government to strengthen efforts for promoting road safety in Uganda. Resolution 1, the action taken. That's recommendation 1. They extracted recommendation 2, action taken. Recommendation 3, action taken. It's very detailed, it's very rich. It helps you. Okay? But now when you say, for example, if they had said the resolution of Parliament urging government to strengthen efforts for promoting road safety in Uganda, and they say we are amending the act, they have answered you. That's action. But does it help? It doesn't. So we want to go deeper. We want to go deeper. We interact. We see which is implementable, and we be honest with each other. Then also Parliament will see maybe there are resolutions we passed and they are very difficult to implement. You become honest to each other. It helps us. Even enriches next time the debate when we are passing resolutions. We know we should only pass what can be implemented. What cannot be, we cannot manage. Whatever, how do you wanted to guide there? Let Honorable and then you give final guidance, Honorable Katuntu.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank the Prime Minister for giving us what he has laid today. But as a Vice Chairperson of the Committee on Government Assurances, under Rule 179, most of the business and actions given here almost relate to the committee I'm chairing currently when my boss is not around. Now, anything by any action, for example, I know Speaker, as you have rightly stated, and I want to thank you very much that this committee you have facilitated it very well, because for us, we cannot make any report without making on-spot assessment. Now, under UNRWA, if you said they are, Roman, let me just make a quotation from the Prime Minister's statement. UNRWA is working with the Ministry of Works and Transport to provide alternative materials for traffic signs such as fiberglass for sign plates. They are working. But the moment you don't provide a specific time when this objective or action will be achieved, then as Committee of Government Assurances and Implementation under Rule 179, we get a problem because we have to go and assess and report back to Parliament. And fortunately, the framers of these rules, which actually are us, we are right. Where government fails, it is right to come back and say, give us more time, or you have failed to do this, and you withdraw the promise or what you have given to Parliament. So, right now, Speaker, I pray and I support you as you have stated. We need that specific assurance from this Parliament, from the Prime Minister, because after adopting this action plan, the next step, right now, Speaker, under your leadership and guidance, you are going to give us support to go and prove whether what these people were asking actually took place. When you talk about cattle rustling, giving people back their cattle, we have to assess who got them, or they were stolen, or they were given to other.
Thank you. Honorable Katuntu.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I think these are two issues which are different.
Now, Honorable Katuntu, let me reassure the Honorable Prime Minister. Honorable Prime Minister, you're suffering for nothing. It's the minister who is supposed to bring the action report. Stop burdening yourself. We are not frustrating you. We are working with you. And me, I appreciate the fact that you have coordinated. So the rule is very clear. The minister, because this resolution was falling under certain docket. Now you've done your work, you brought them together, and they have given a good report by them. But what we are saying is we need it well structured so that it can be well tracked and well followed. Otherwise, when we open a debate here, there are things I've seen in here among the actions taken. When you say you will inform the president, it's been 5 months. You have not informed him. You're saying you will. It can't be an action taken. It means you have not taken any action. So, Prime Minister, I'm trying to ensure that we have a debate which will help us. Otherwise, we shall have a quarrel when we go into some of these issues. Honorable Katuntu, let Honorable Katuntu come, then I.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I think the problem originates within our rules when we use resolution and or recommendations. You see, Parliament acts through resolutions. Once a recommendation has been adopted by the House, then it is no longer a recommendation.
It's a resolution.
It is a resolution.
Yeah.
And that is where the clerk's office should be faulted. When you are extracting a parliamentary decision, just know that once the House has resolved, then it's no longer a recommendation of a committee. Now that is a parliamentary resolution. So there should be no difference. You can't say these were the recommendations of Parliament, these were the resolutions of Parliament. Don't divorce the two. So if there is a report, and I know where the problem comes from, Right Honorable Speaker, because standalone motions, sometimes they say Parliament hereby resolves. So that's the only resolutions they extract. But if there is a parliamentary report which has made recommendation, and those recommendations, Right Honorable Speaker, are from the committee to the House. I want to emphasize, parliamentary committee recommendations are recommendations to the House. And once the House acts on them by adoption, they are no longer recommendations. They are now resolutions. So the clerk's office should be clear on that. When you are communicating, was adopted, what were the recommendations, transmit them or record them as resolutions of Parliament. Then we will not have this confusion.
Thank you. And I think this speaks to what I said at the beginning. Honorable Abudu, that's what I said at the beginning. Okay? That's what I said, that on our side, we should have communicated. But you see, also on the side of cabinet, it is taking a convenient route. You're behaving as if you are not members of Parliament. Here, ministers are in Parliament. Whether you attended or not, you are supposed to access the Hansard, you access the report. We are not like countries where ministers don't sit in Parliament. So when you're a member of Parliament and you say, a report was not communicated to me, I didn't access the Hansard, I didn't access what? But again, it can be a good defense on your side. So we should have extracted more details and we share. If it's a report, we adopt a report, or we pick out a report and the answer given, so that you even see where the debate, how the debate was moving. We conclude with you, Honorable Mama Syria,
Thank
and
you.
then
Thank you, Chair.
I guide.
Thank
on
you,
how-
Speaker.
Then Prime Minister, I guide on the next.
Thank you, Speaker. I think this is a convergent point. This is where we have always operated at different lane, because the government has always taken that Parliament is not appreciating its position. But now, with this initiative, Right Honorable Speaker, you are actually moving closer to the executive and saying we are ready to support you in ensuring that whatever you say in Parliament is implemented. And this is where the government should have appreciated. More so, Right Honorable Speaker, the Prime Minister and the executive should know that you have put in place, the Commission has put in place the operational office of the leader of government business, which operates purely on what is discussed in Parliament, recommendation or resolution as we have been told. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Right Honorable Prime Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to thank you and also thank my grandson, Abdu Katundu, because that's why you have been seeing me stand up, because I know the recommendations of Parliament are resolutions, are made into resolutions of Parliament. And it is because of this that the clerk, and I know the clerk is a seasoned lawyer. He knows all the operations of this house because he has been here longer than all of us. He's the one who gave us those resolutions which we acted on. But I take your concerns that we needed to have details. But there are those ministries that did exactly what you are talking about. Why don't we handle those? Why?
You're still waiting for my guidance, Right Honorable. I haven't concluded. Now you're concluding on my behalf. I'm the presiding officer. Yes, Jonathan.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you. Given the explanation from the Right Honorable Prime Minister, this question I posed it before. I want you to clarify today. If we borrow practice from other areas where government land, for example, the judiciary, when a presiding judge or magistrate decides on a case, the registrars or whoever can extract, but before it is brought back to that judicial officer to sign it off. And this has been the missing link here in Parliament, that these resolutions are extracted from somewhere. I believe they bypass the office of the Speaker, the presiding officer who sat here, who formulated and knows the kind of resolution that have been made. So I'm kindly requesting, if it pleases you, that going forward, no resolution should actually leave this Parliament if it is not certified under the hand of the Speaker who presided over that session. That way we are not going to miss anything. I want to submit.
Thank you. Colleagues, the clerk and team really have done a wonderful job. You see, sometimes these details, going into so much detail, the clerk has been a member of Parliament. So he has been a member of Parliament who knows that indeed when you're, whether you're a minister, whether you're what, whether you attended or not, you go with the whole, you know, with the whole resolution and the whole report. It's not that this was failure to do work or what, but it was a summary and yet we are demanding for a detail. Okay, so we are going, I talked to him earlier on and we agreed we are going to work on a detail to submit you. But luckily now, like I said earlier on, and the Prime Minister has repeated, there are those ministries which gave a detailed response on the issues. So, Right Honorable Prime Minister, I don't know whether you want us to follow what is in your book. I can see Yes, I had mentioned it. I said the rope, the shadow minister. Yes, I thought they first present and then the shadow minister comes and.
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker, there is no controversy in this. And like I mentioned earlier, we are not into this for politics, but for quality of governance in this country.
Sure.
Yes, and service delivery. When the matter was raised and the Prime Minister uploaded her statement, we moved and responded, and I even served her with a copy of our response. Because to me, it's a better style, it's neat. Like I mentioned, the Prime Minister and her ministers are going to give us the details. What I had done was equally to prepare an executive summary before I go into the details of each. But if it is the guidance of the Speaker and concurrence of the House, I am equally at peace with the presenting after they have presented. I have no problem. Mine was only an executive summary before my ministers go to the details of the respective ministries. I'm okay with either approach.
Thank you, Alop. So we are starting with the Ministry of Justice. And Rope, I hope your response is also uploaded on the system for colleagues to access. Okay. So can Crack help us give them a copy? Please technical people of Rope to ensure that it's uploaded for colleagues to follow. Oh, it's there?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable colleagues, this is the action taken report from Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. I say item 2.1, we start with the title. This was the reason.
On record, this is item 5, Roman 1.
5 Roman 1, yes.
For record purposes.
Yes, 5 Roman 1.
The one of Rope is also uploaded, the response of Rope. It says, what's the title, Rope? If we could get the title, sorry, Attorney General, give us the title so that members can easily track it on our fresco.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We did file a response. It is named the response from the opposition on the action taken report from the Prime Minister, May 2021 to May 22.
So colleagues, you should be able now to access it. It's uploaded. Very good. Yes, Attorney General, continue.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, the issue to address here is Parliament made a resolution urging the government to address the challenges facing the girl child and children in general in the digital era. The first item that Parliament resolved was government to implement the Trafficking in Persons Act 2019 and the Anti-Pornography Act 2014. The action taken, Right Honorable Speaker, action taken was that the Trafficking in Persons Act is being implemented in accordance with the law, that is by prosecution of persons who are found guilty of such offenses. However, the Anti-Pornography Act, Right Honorable Speaker, 2014 was subject of a constitutional petition where the court found that section 1(2) on the definition of pornography was unconstitutional. An appeal against this decision has been filed by the Attorney General's chambers. The implementation of the Anti-Pornography Act has therefore been made difficult by the deletion of the definition of pornography.
Now, Attorney General, you see, for such reports, you have to read verbatim. Yes.
Much obliged.
Yeah, but
much
continue
obliged.
where you had it.
Thank you. Then Resolution 2 is the Attorney General to present to Parliament the status of implementation of the Penal Code Act intended to protect both the girls and the boy child against female genital mutilation, rape, defilement, child marriage, and other forms of child abuse. Action taken. The very name of the Penal Code Act is to provide offenses and punishment for those offenses. Therefore, successful implementation of Penal Code Acts requires securing convictions of offences committed. Right Honorable Speaker, the table at the next page shows the statistics of the offences that have been reported, how they have been handled to conviction. The first column shows the offense, which is we have rape, aggravated defilement, and simple defilement. For example, you have newly registered cases and case files. For rape, we had 136 cases. Those were new. And then by gender disaggregation of the case files that we now have 1,130 cases of adult males and 4 of females, 38 of juvenile boys, and 2 PWDs, persons with disabilities, and 1 female. The cases that are sanctioned, these are cases that have been investigated and sanctioned for the DPP. We have 590 cases of that been sanctioned in the period under question. The cases on mention altogether as of May 20 were 1,761. The ones that were consent work in progress and completed were 10, and then the further inquiries, the ones that we requested for further inquiries, were 302. The ones under hearing are 323, and the ones taken for all these offenses are cut, Right Honorable Speaker. And these offenses have to be committed to the High Court. Those ones that have been sent for committal are 432. The convicted cases in the period under issue were 49. That is May 2021 to May 2022. We had 14 convictions, and we had 49 convictions of males and 6 convictions of females. We had 1 acquittal from males and none for the females. These are by gender segregation. We had 14 withdrawals. Those are were filed, had been sanctioned, and along the way, we find they could not get a conviction and have been withdrawn. Then we have 9 cases that were dismissed. These cases are dismissed for want of prosecution. Say probably you don't get the witnesses coming to court. So those were not dismissed. We have none that were revised, and therefore cases that the closed files for that period were 209. I don't know whether I should all the tables.
Clerk, capture the whole table and all details will be answered.
So, Right Honorable Speaker, the office of the DP continues. Now, this is just an addition. The office of the DP continues to prosecute cases relating to the girl child. Right Honorable Speaker, for FGM, which was not included in the table here, it was a long table with all the offenses. So I think in disaggregating them, we missed that. We had 7 cases in the period 2021 after May, and 40 cases in 2022 of FGM, female genital mutilation. These offenses are mainly committed in the areas in Nakonyen village, in Katikekile parish, Topak sub-county, which is a grazing area in Moja sub-region. We also had in November 2022, which is recent, 1 conviction of a person who, a 46-year-old woman, who was sentenced to 4 years in prison for procuring 4 girls aged 13 to 15 years to acts of male genital mutilation. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, on the next issue, resolution on urging government to immediately stop cattle rustling and restore in the spirit and security in the sub-regions of Teso, Lango, Acholi, Karamoja, Bugiso, and Sebei. The specific resolution in this regard to Ministry of Justice was government verifies and compensates. Government verifies and pays compensation to the people who have lost livestock and property in cattle. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, this resolution was sent to Ministry of Justice, but we understood it to mean that is how it was captured. But we understood it to mean the people who lost livestock and property in as far as the wars were concerned, because that is what Ministry of Justice was handling. We have received from Parliament 50 billion shillings towards the compensation. By the end of the financial year 2021-2022, we had paid out 49 billion, 345 million, 708,595 shillings, and we had 654 million, 291 million, 405, which was bounced payments. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, we have set out in the tables below the amounts of the awarded claimants paid by each district. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, we regularly submit to Parliament the list of names, and we did before the end of the financial year, of the particular name of person who, yes.
Actually, there is no tab, but apparently, Right Honorable Speaker, seek clarification from the Learned Attorney General. We seem to be reading from different texts. Beyond the figures they have paid in compensation, that is the 49 billion and so on. There is nothing more than that, and I don't know where he's reading the rest from. Would seek clarification, even the table that he's talking about, because immediately after that, he goes to resolution number 4.
Did you, Attorney General, did you submit and did you update like your report? Because the one uploaded has the details. It's there on the screen.
Thank you. Right now, Speaker, what the Attorney General is reading, there are two areas. One, here in the floor of Parliament, the issues were raised about the cattle rustling, whereby the Karamojas, they are crossing to Dachole, Lango, and Teso, raiding cattle of the community. And another issue is about the compensation of the lost animals. So the resolution passed by Parliament, what the Attorney General is supposed to answer is about the cattle rustling, not the compensation.
No, that's for internal affairs. That
Yes.
can't be Attorney General.
Yeah.
Attorney General is answering compensation.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Then cattle rustling is under internal affairs.
Yes, but right now, Speaker, if you read the heading,
No, he mentioned.
it's talk of cattle rustling.
Yes, he mentioned that.
It's
Okay?
Thank
He
you.
mentioned that. He
Most obliged.
clarified when he said we took it that you meant this compensation. So we shall make that correction on the record. That's why we shall
Thank
debate
you
that.
very much,
concept.
Right Honorable Speaker.
But Attorney General, what the rope says, you served him a different document. So I think and his responses are based on the old document. But we shall come to that later, Rope. We can give you time to respond later after. Yeah, for now, use your iPad.
Yeah, Right Honorable Speaker, at right under the action taken, we say government commence compensation for cattle lost in Acholi, Lango, and Teso sub-region. To date, 17,000 claimants have been paid a total of 49 billion, with unspent 654,291,000 because of bounced payments as shown below. So here we have only shown the monies that have been paid, and the ones that bounced, that money was taken back to the consolidated fund. Yeah, we've set out the payments for all the regions, district by district, but we have the detail of even the individual who was paid, and we laid it on the table of Parliament before the close of the financial year. A resolution for Right Honorable Speaker, according to Article 79 of the Constitution, a law be enacted to adequately and specifically criminalize, penalize, and make raiding a very expensive and consequential venture to all perpetrators and abettors. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, there is already an offense in the Penal Code Act that deals with cattle rustling. But government is currently reviewing the Penal Code Act, and therefore there is an opportunity to study the possibility of introducing other offenses related to cattle rustling in the Penal Code Act. But it's already an offense under the law. I beg to submit. Right Honorable Speaker, those were the only resolutions that came to Ministry of Justice. But like Right Honorable Speaker, like you guided, a resolution like this one will be handled by like 3 or 4 ministries, and each one of them will be speaking to their specific aspect, and I'll speak to the law. I beg to submit. Thank you.
How we usually do when we are making the final pronouncement, so that's from the presiding officer. We have one ministry that coordinates, because you don't work in silos. Otherwise, you're going to have 4 ministers coming presenting on one resolution. You will never finish. That will mean that also ROP has to respond 4 times. We debate 4 times on the same resolution. So we feel government, since you're one, you're well integrated. We have a lead ministry, a lead agency, then you bring in others, and then they can come and support you on the floor once we have a debate. Otherwise, if we don't do it that way, then it will mean you work in silos, which will make our work very difficult here. Yeah, but it's okay if it has been done that way for now. Let me first allow Lop.
Maybe let me seek some clarification.
No, Elder, you're accessing a microphone without my permission. Let me first allow Lop then. Okay, you can the clarification from him, from Attorney General?
From the Attorney General, and from the chair too. The Land Attorney General says that a resolution could be affecting 2 or 3 ministries, and each is speaking on a particular part of that resolution. Wouldn't it be procedure right that if there are 3 ministries speaking to that particular point, they present all their responses together, then we can have a response? Because if there is some other ministry which is coming maybe 2 days later, related to the same point, and another one 2 other days later, doesn't make sense. We shall be moving back and forth. So we need to identify on the point that Attorney General has been raising, if there are other ministries on that, they should present, and then you can have one response. Wouldn't that be a need for doing it, Right Honorable?
Sure, I think it would be much better. And it's really closely related to what I said. If it had been joint, he would read it, then the other ministers would support in terms of responses. But for now, if they are ready, if the other ones are ready, they can also submit, and we conclude on this matter. Chief Whip, is there something?
Right Honorable Speaker, as stated by the Attorney General, the only aspect in terms of his responses that has gone and has been integrated between internal affairs and defense is the issue of cattle rustling. And the responses from defense and internal affairs has been integrated. And defense will take the lead, supported by the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Absolutely.
Yeah, then they better present on this specific resolution. Okay? Because what Honorable Abudu is proposing is, if the resolution of that day has been shared by around 3 ministries in terms of response, let all of them present, and then we finish.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. We'll have the Minister of Defense present, and then the Minister of Agriculture on what has been done on cattle rustling, then we can deal with it. Thank you.
Colleagues, don't mind, this is a running curve. It's the first time we are doing this. So we are going to come out better. Next time we shall be. But I hope, Honorable Abudu, you're identifying areas which we need to clean up in our rules. As the chair for the rules committee, these gray areas, we need to come out clearly.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, and your guidance is in sync with what we had prepared regarding the issue of insecurity in Karamoja. And it makes sense so that we don't scatter these
related aspects to speak at once.
Yeah.
That said, my job in this respect was to make the preamble of the spectrum of measures that are included in our response, and then allow defense to give the detail, which I do so now, Right Honorable Speaker.
So that's the preamble. Thank you, General. Now, General Bosso.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. On the resolution of Parliament urging government to immediately stop cattle rustling and restore peace, security, stability in the sub-regions of Teso, Lango, Acholi, Karamoja, Bugiso, and Sebei. I think I will request those who are uploading it to put for.
Page 20, from page 29.
Yes, under Minister of Defense.
Minister of Defense.
The resolution is cast out there that government, in accordance with Articles 26, 209, 212, and 222 of the Constitution of Uganda, urgently and adequately deploys security forces in Karamoja and districts bordering it, from the sub-regions of Teso, Lango, Acholi, Bugisu, and Sebei, with adequate logistical, material, and financial resources to stop cattle rustling that is illegally depriving people of their right to own property and subjecting people to torture, cruel, and inhuman treatment, and thereby restore peace and security. Actions taken. Right Honorable Speaker, the UPDF has made commensurately robust deployment by enhancing troop levels. These have been further boosted by local defense personnel from various training wings of the UPDF. With these enhancements, each district in Karamoja has a force for zonal security supported by intelligence. B, in the neighboring sub-regions, UPDF has enhanced troop levels in Kitgum, Agago, Abim, Otuge, Kabelabiong, Katakri, Kumi, Bulambuli, Kwen, and Bukwo to prevent and curtail incursions by cattle rustlers in the respective districts. C, while recognizing that adequate security calls for the participation of the public as well as local leaders, we have integrated into our operation the anti-cattle rustling mobilization and sensitization. Important to note, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda has traversed the sub-regions, leading the mindset change effort by encouraging the population to engage in other productive activities such as goat rearing. And resolution number 2, relatedly, that government, in accordance with Article 17 B to D of the Constitution, reinstates the LD, the local defense forces from the affected districts, as a permanent auxiliary force under the command and coordination of the UPDF, with improved management and remuneration, trained, armed, and deployed within their villages, communities, to support and work with the UPDF and Uganda Police Force in deterring raids, protecting lives and property, plus tracking and recovering of stolen animals from the armed raiders. Action taken with regard to reinstatement of local defense forces between April and June 2022, UPDF deliberately trained and passed out 14,440 local defense forces who are deployed in Karamoja and the neighboring affected districts. Resolution number 3, that government takes steps to immediately remove all armed herdsmen moving within the sub-regions of Teso, Lango, Acholi, Bugisu, Sebei, and Karamoja, including the armed Turkana, Toposa, and the Pokot. Action taken with the relaunch of the Usalama kwa Wote operations in July 2021, 631 guns were recovered by May 2022 within the reporting period. Resolution 4, government with immediate effect and in accordance